Turning the page. Chu Han has become the overlord Xiang Yu. I originally wanted to take Yu and live in seclusion in the mountains and forests for the rest of my life. But I never expected it. At this time, he was actually in the right position. Moreover, it was time for Xiang Yu to be defeated by the crown prince. Then the king of Chu kissed Wujiang River. It hasn't been long. While thinking, a red queen rode her horse to retaliate. Report to the king. General Zhong Limei completed the post-breaking mission. Nowadays, I am surrounded by Korean dramas inside and outside the house. The soldiers and horses of Liu Bang, Peng Yueying's tribe, Liu family and other traders. They are also arriving one after another. As a descendant, of course you understand what you are about to face. Han Xian, Peng Yu and other great heroes were eliminated one by one. Not to mention you, my lifelong enemy. Second, directly informed Qi King Han Xian. Qi will become a lost lackey in the future. Then he instigated him to rebel against Liu Bang together. But after thinking about it carefully, I had to abandon this idea. Although Han Xian was a military genius, but also a political idiot, I simply can't understand why Liu Bang killed him. The two clear paths look good, but it hides endless killing chickens. At this moment, you decide to let go of your fantasy and choose to fight. The north wind blew by, bringing with it a hint of goodwill. It also brings your thoughts back. Han Xian, you are really good at using troops. It's a pity that you calculated everything. You never would have guessed that I, Xiang Yu, would be the biggest variable. Looking at the 10,000 people selected by Xiang Zhuang, he was surprised. You will be the king for several days. Set off and follow this king to rescue Brother Peos. Save Brother Peos. Save Brother Peos. 10,000 people shouted in surprise, and the battle increased sharply. In an unreasonable mountain colonel, General Guaniying of Qi led more than 30,000 troops. Qi Jun. The 6,000 princes headed by Zhongli Mei were in a state of confusion. Thinking of love, Zonglimai's reward. Guaniying looked excited. Zonglimai, you are now under siege. If you understand, kneel down and surrender immediately. Otherwise, today next year will be your death anniversary. Kneel down and surrender. Zonglimai was not afraid at all. Laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha. My sister Zhongli will only die standing. I will never give birth on my knees. My head is right here. If you have the ability, you can change things. The last bribery incident. Xiang Yu no longer trusts you. That being the case, why should he devote himself wholeheartedly to Xiang Yu? Thousands of clouds. Don't waste your words anymore. My loyal sister is a domineering person. Who is the bully's dog? Saying that, Zonglimai jumped on her horse and rushed forward. The cloud shadow gun thrust forward. It stabbed directly into Guaniying's face. Guaning didn't react slowly and ducked sideways at the same time. The ice iron broadsword drew blood and slashed at the tip of Zhonglimai's mouth. Just listen to a bang. Sparks between the four swords. Guaniying quickly put away the sword and drew it out. Zonglimai was forced to passively block him. The two of them killed each other faster and harder. After about 30 rounds of fighting, Guaning lacked strength. In turn, she was beaten by Zhongli Mei. Zonglimai concentrated on Dai and exploded with all her strength. The cloud shadow gun knocked the ice and iron sword away violently. With all his strength, he entered Guaniying's body through the ice iron sword. Guaniying trembled. I felt like my internal organs were being whipped with a whip soaked in water. Zonglimai took advantage of the victory to attack. The cloud shadow spear slanted like a slant, piercing through the power of cracking gold and cracking stone, and stabbed wildly. Guaniying was completely suppressed, and a thought flashed across his face. After roaring angrily, he used both arms. The knife suddenly hit the blade of the cloud shadow gun. The violent collision of swords and guns made Guaniying sweat in his heart. He hit it with all his strength, but failed to repel the cloud shadow spear even half a point. Zonglimai's eyes showed that she was able to knock open the ice iron sword with just a flash of strength. A burst of sparks appeared on Guaniying's armor. Guaniying's face turned pale. At the same time the armor cracked. There was a cry, and the bloody mouth was exposed in the air. The sting came. Guaniying looked strange. He is not a reckless person. Decisively retreated to the main formation and called on his men to launch a siege. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4. Although the prince's superiors and subordinates have disappeared, but because there are too few troops, it didn't take long to get into trouble, especially Zonglimai. Not only were they besieged by 7 or 8 cavalry generals, he was also attacked by Guaniyin's cold arrows from time to time. There is a faint fear of light. The outside of Shanao at this moment. You feel it quietly with 10,000 surprises. Look at Zhongli Mei who is risking her life to fight. Prince Suabu looked at Zhuang with a dissatisfied look. Brother Wang, let us quickly lead our troops to kill him. You shook your head slightly. The number of cavalry exceeds 30,000. It is not difficult to save people. The difficult thing is to eat these 30,000 cavalry in one bite. After you have been exhausted, Xiang Zhuang dispersed with 3,000 surprises and arranged a secret siege. With the command of 7,000 surprises, they began to charge into Shanao. The dull sound of horse hooves sounded silently. The Qi and Chu armies in Shanao were all looking for fame. After seeing the purple avenue representing Overlord Xiang Yu, Zhongli's younger sister was shocked. The battle in my heart began. In contrast, Qi Jun looked shocked and restless. Guanyin stared intently. His face was full of disbelief. How so? Xiang Yu shouldn't have come. Just when Guanyin was puzzled, General Qi next to him reminded him loudly. General Guanyin, trembling again. Xiang Yes, bravery. Enough for this era. Any military commander is heartbroken. Guanyin is no exception. See you again for a moment. The first thought was to run. Although Guanying's warhorse is good, but compared with Wu Ju, it is still far behind. Wait for him to react. It was too late to turn around. I just feel like my neck is numb. There was a hint of dryness in his eyes, full of enthusiasm. It began to erupt like a volcano. You reached out and took Guanying's head. Lang Sun shouted. Guanying is dead. You guys haven't just surrendered yet. A loud sigh of relief. It immediately sounded like thunder. Many cavalrymen threw away their weapons and knelt down in prison. See this scene. The Death Eagle elements in the cavalry were furious. They all started killing people to establish their authority. This will make you angry. The horse leaped forward, and the Overlord halberd swept across swiftly. A cold light swept over Wu. Your brute strength plus the wind power of the Overlord halberd. A dozen cavalry Death Eagle elements screamed and fell to the ground. There was an unspeakable excitement in your eyes. The blood in the body seemed to be boiling. It turns out that the feeling of riding a horse on the battlefield is so wonderful. After a while, all the surviving cavalrymen on the battlefield knelt down. Overlord, spare your life. We would like to think. There were sounds of begging for mercy. Your reason triumphs over impulse. The Overlord in his hand stopped waving. That's when Zhang Lamai came over with the remaining soldiers of Prince Qinyu. Kneel down respectfully. At the end of the day, I will pay my respects to the king. Thank you, your majesty, for saving your life. You look at the scars all over your body. But the Crown Prince's remnant soldier showed his resolute face. A flash of appreciation and emotion flashed in his eyes. Brothers, please rise. You will follow me to the death. No regrets in this life. I heard your words. The prince's remnant soldiers, led by Zhongli Mei, had wet eyes. There was a warm current in my heart. The guard was so anxious that he died. General Zhang Lamai, I fell into the trap before, and I wrongly blamed you for Chen Ping's evil plan. Don't take it to heart. Eventually you will understand. This is not the king's fault. The only thing to blame is the enemy's insidious and cunning tactics. I won't say much else. You just have to remember. As long as you live up to me, I will not let you down either. Don't worry, your majesty. I, Sister Zhongli, belong to the king. Death is the king's ghost. Zhang Lamai hasn't finished speaking yet. Xiang Zhuang has arrived on horseback. Report to you quickly. Brother Wang heard the news from the spies. The Qi army's large-scale capture force is no more than 20 miles away from us. You nodded solemnly. It is not advisable to stay here for long. We retreat quickly. Xiang Zhuang glanced at the Qi army prisoners and asked, Brother Wang, how to deal with these prisoners? But according to the old rules. Speaking of which, Xiang Zhuang made a gesture of cutting his throat. You shook your head slightly. Pretending to be on the ground, you lead people to make a selection. All the prisoners who were not seriously injured were taken away. 20 miles away, there are more than 300,000 people. The Qi army is rushing towards this battlefield non-stop. Han Zi is handsome in front of the team. A young man is staring into the distance. He is none other than Han Xian, the cavalry king known as the army line. A middle-aged man on Han Zin's left is following closely. When Han Xian looked away from the front, noticing a look of solemnity on the middle-aged man's face, he couldn't help but ask, General Li Zuicha, what are you worried about? Li Zuicha came to his senses and responded, there has been no news from General Guanying, the great king. The subordinates were worried that something bad had happened to them. General Guanying has great fighting prowess. There are 30,000 troops guarding it. To deal with thousands of the prince's remnants of troops, he will definitely be able to defend them until they are captured. His subordinates were worried that Xiang Yu would personally lead the rescue force. General Guanying can deal with Zhongli Mei, but he is definitely not Xiang Yu's opponent. Xiang Yu, the possibility of him taking action is too small. Xiang Yu was very suspicious this time and hated betrayal. When Zhang Lamai is suspected of betrayal, he would never lead troops to rescue. General Li Zuicha, just relax. Xiang Yu didn't escape, so it's okay. Once you escape to the bottom, you will die. The words are not finished yet. Nightby came over on Pegasus, riding the Cake King. General Guanying surrounded and suppressed Zhongli Mai's army. Encountering Xiang Ye's command, the cavalry made a surprise attack. General Guanying died on the spot. Our army's more than 30,000 soldiers and horses are either dead or thinking about it. This news is too sudden. Han Xin's head trembled. His face was full of disbelief. Xiang Yu actually took action this time. Li Zuicha was also quite shocked. He didn't think about his wild guess. It turned out to be true. The two looked at each other and made a tacit decision. Rush to that battlefield immediately. Find out what's going on. An hour later, Wumingshan was proud. Han Xian and Li Zue made 2 careful rounds of the car, looking at each other without saying a word. I don't know how much time passed. Han Xian sighed slightly. It seems that I look down upon Xiang Yu. Li Zue nodded in agreement. Xiang Yu's method this time. It's definitely different from the past. He is willing to take risks to rescue Zhongli Mei. This is the British friend who is ready to win people's hearts. And nearly 30,000 prisoners were taken. Don't go on a killing spree just because of past habits. But it took a lot of effort to take it away. There must be some calculation behind this. We may have to be more careful next time. But after hearing this, Han Xian. But he shook his head disapprovingly. I admit that I underestimated Xiang Yu this time. But Xiang Yu is not as worthy of fear as you said. Xiang Yu is aloof, has many aunts, and has a aggressive character. But it can't be changed in a day or two. Li Zue knew that Han Xian had a stubborn character. Seeing that he was confident, he no longer had too much power. It's time for the prince to win big. Xiang Yu returned with his army. The whole army was in jubilation. Did you hear that? This time the king not only captured nearly 30,000 Qi troops, he also beheaded the Qi army general Guanyin. Guanyin finally got his comeuppance this time. The previous sinking battle. It was Guanyin who pursued the most fiercely this time. The Chinese army is in a major battle. Zhang Lemai reported respectfully. Your Majesty, the things you told the general are already halfway through. Our soldiers gradually changed their views on this war. Confidence and campaign began to pick up. You nodded with satisfaction. General Zhongli Mei, thank you for your hard work. Go back and recuperate. Wait until your body gets better. Then follow me into the battle. Zhang Lemai responded respectfully and left. The Chu army's biggest hidden danger at present is not its soldiers. Not Liang Jun. Not about to be surrounded. It's because of the declining morale and fighting situation. A demoralized army is bound to suffer a crushing defeat. Because I know this. After you travel through time, the first thing you start to do is to restore the morale of the Chu army. Now, the morale of the prince and his subordinates has begun to recover. Next thing to consider. It's a question of how to deal with the traitorous brother-in-law. You think about it. After a tiring day, my body finally couldn't hold it any longer. He floated on the shabu-shabu bank and fell into a deep sleep. I don't know how much time passed. I woke up because I was hungry. King, you wake up. A voice rang in my ears. Makes your brain slightly groggy. I woke up a little immediately. You can't help but look at the owner of the voice. That moment of eye contact. You feel like your mind is going blank. A breathtaking beauty. Make your heart almost stop beating. From the birth of the soul. It's been a long time since your heart has been moved by a woman. There was a huge wave. What's wrong with you, Your Majesty? Yu looked at it doubtfully. You wake up quickly after the experience. In order to avoid hepatomegaly metastasis, the topic said. King Yu is a little hungry. Have someone bring you some food. Yu replied gently. Your Majesty, later. I am sent to save you. Ji asked softly for instructions after setting up the leeks and fish. The king may need singing and dancing to help him move. You hesitated for a moment and then refused. No. After I finish my meal, I need to talk to the generals. Yu Weiwei, then straightened up, but recovered quickly. Well, I will leave first. I felt a trace of loss exuding from Yu. You really want to call Yu your master. But no matter how good a beauty is, she still has a life to enjoy. At this time, the cavalry won a great victory. Han Xian from the guard office tapped his fingers on the table and asked leisurely. Everyone, what do you think of the upcoming war? The posture is large. The generals were deep in thought and did not answer in a hurry. After a while, General Kong 11 couldn't control his temper. He spoke in a questioning voice. Your Majesty, all the coalition forces are rushing to the battlefield one after another. 700,000 coalition troops against 100,000 princes. They can swarm up and kill the prince to pieces. Kong 11 spoke valiantly, but there were not many generals who could bear the burden. Because the generals know it clearly. Don't look at Xiang Yu being at a disadvantage. He often creates miracles of defeating more with less. Han Xian saw that the generals were silent, so he asked Chao Shen. General Chao Shen, what do you think? Chao Shen bowed to Han Xian and replied loudly. King, the prince is brave and good at fighting. After being in trouble, he becomes even more like a wolf. Our cavalrymen fought hard and fast, and were exhausted physically and mentally from the fierce battle. In view of this, our army might as well rest for a few days. If Peng Yueying doesn't stay, Jiazhuiying won't take action. Our army is launching a thunderous offensive to establish the holy situation in one fell swoop. Han Xian did not approve this proposal because he had an agreement with Liu Bang. In this battle, the cavalry must be the absolute main force. Han Xin's silence. The general inside the tent would not be able to guess his thoughts. He also became silent. At this time, Li Zuocha slowly came out of the queue. The king uses his troops like a god. I guess I already have a copy in mind now. Why don't you say it and let me admire it? Han Xian had a smile on his face and pointed at the map in the center of the battle. He spoke confidently. I am preparing to leave on my way to Wujiang. Set up an ambush on all sides. If the prince continues to retreat south, the entire army will be annihilated. As soon as Han Xian said this, there was an uproar in the tent. Someone was pleasantly surprised. Some people are surprised. At this time, Li Zuocha asked in a tacit understanding. I don't know how the king arranged the ambush from all sides. Han Xian smiled and talked. In the first scene, I am going to send a big general. He led 5,000 elite troops and went to the upper reaches of the Tuo River to build a dam and collect water. Once the prince passes, the water will be released immediately to flood the system. The second time, I am going to send a big general. Led 10,000 elite troops to Luoyan Ridge. Once the crown prince passes, he will throw down a rolling thunder curtain. In the third phase, I am going to send a big general. He led 5,000 elite troops to ambush outside Fenghai Forest. Once the crown prince passes, he immediately sets fire to the spirit. On the 10th day, I am preparing to send a large general. Take the lead and start with 20,000 people in the middle. Always be prepared to supplement each side. After listening to Han Xin's explanation, the account must be encircled again. Wonderful, wonderful. Li Zuocha even praised it. The king's use of troops is truly miraculous. It's really breathtaking. There is a real ambush. It would be fine if the prince does not return to Jiangdong. If you insist on rushing back to Jiangdong, he will die without a burial place. Xiang Yu is also considered a worldly person. Festival. It's a pity that he shouldn't have missed the king. Perhaps, this is his destiny. For Xiang Yu and Han Xian, there is resentment in his heart. At the beginning, he shot with enthusiasm. But Xiang Yu abandoned him like a blue fish. All the generals also agreed. For a time, the sound of admiration resounded throughout the battle. A counselor who has always closed his eyes to meditate. Quan Tong suddenly spoke. Your Majesty, that's what you said. What to do when the prince cannot escape? But if the prince does not escape, he will die. Do you want to decide to fight to the death with the king? Quan Tong's question was like a thunderbolt on a clear day. In fact, Han Xian has already thought about this issue. So he answered calmly. Mr. Quan Tong, this is a good question. If Xiang Yu is determined to fight to the death with this king, the king decided to fight to the death with him. Quan Tong asked with interest. The king decided to fight to the death. What kind of deadly battle method is this? The terrain is open, extremely suitable for large-scale operations. The king plans to secretly draw out the best soldiers to form a central army. When fighting against Xiang Yu, fight and retreat at the same time. He also sent Xiang Yu to lead the elite in pursuit. According to the king's instructions, Xiang Yu led his army to attack our elite central army. It will definitely be difficult to win in a short time. Then I wonder where is the trump card prepared by the king. The king is going to place 2 military flags on both wings of the army. Once the prince's front is stretched, then he launched a thunderous offensive towards the prince's center. Divide the prince's formation into 2 sections. The king's trump card is really wonderful. Once the prince's formation is divided into 2 sections, Xiang Yu must have panicked and led his troops to rescue him. At this time, the king can take advantage of the situation and kill him. In this case, the crown prince will undoubtedly lose. The generals in the tent listened to the fight between Han Xian and Quan Tong. His eyes brightened. There was a look of surprise and excitement on his face. Han Xian was very satisfied with everyone's reaction. Get up slowly. Where is General Kong 11? Mo will be there. Kong 11 came out of the queue and responded loudly. Let's fight together tomorrow. With 20,000 men of his age, he was ambushing on the left flank of the army. Where is General Chen He? Let's fight together tomorrow. Surprised by the 20,000 men of his age, he ambushed the right wing of the army. General Chao Shen and General Li Zuocha. This king has ordered that you select the best from the army to form a central army. Together with the tomorrow soldiers. Follow me and have a good meeting. Xiang Yu is a common man. The final general takes command. I have you all to help me. Tomorrow this battle will be a complete victory. Don't know why. Kuai Tong heard the 4 words big victory. Suddenly, I felt that the cheers from the whole hall were extremely harsh. A great victory may be a great achievement to others. It can be seen in Kuaisong. This was the straw that broke the camel's back for Han Xian. Because he has another name. That is the master with great achievements. After the proceedings, the generals left Han Xin's Chinese army battle one after another. Only the water flowed down. Han Xian was a little curious and asked with a smile. Mr. Dunk Tong, this is you. Jian Tong asked directly with a solemn expression. King, do you know that your death is imminent? Death is imminent. Don't make fun of Mr. Tong. The smile on Han Xin's face immediately solidified. Just kidding. Shui Tong shook his head slightly and said solemnly. The king's subordinates did not joke with the king. In the ensuing battle, if the king does not let Xiang Yu and the prince go, there will be no way out. I'm just afraid that there will be a fatal disaster soon. Humph. You are talking nonsense. Kill Xiang Yu and destroy the prince. This is a huge achievement. How could I miss this? What a great achievement. It should be called a catastrophic disaster. Once the king kills Xiang Yu, he will destroy the prince. That's a great achievement. So what if you have great achievements? The king of Han is the leader of virtuous people. How could it be that there is no room for people? Lord of virtuous people, perhaps. But the king of Han was by no means a kind person. If the king has great achievements, he will be the master. The king of Han will turn around and deal with the king. Mr. Quantong and Han Xian looked unhappy. Why do you still hold prejudice against the king of Han? At that time, Han Xian decided to suspend his national affairs. Quantong knew it. Chu and Han quarreled. If Han Xian helps Lu Bang will win. If Han Xian helps Xiang Yu will win. Therefore, Quantong persuaded Han Xian to betray Lu Bang and establish his own party. He divided the world with Lu Bang and Xiang Yu. Han Xian was grateful to Lu Bang for his kindness, unwilling to betray. At this time, Quantong persuaded Lu Bang that Lu Bang would eventually cross the river and burn the bridge. He also suggested that Han Xian petition Lu Bang and request a single agent. The king of Qi came to test Lu Bang. However, the final result of this matter was far beyond Quantong's expectations. Lu Bang was persuaded by Zhang Liang and Chen Ping. Not only did he not reprimand Han Xian, he also established Han Xian as the true king of cavalry. This result not only made Han Xin's wariness against Lu Bang disappear, it also made Han Xian dislike Kuai Tong. Think Kuai Tong is biased against Lu Bang. Kuai Tong showed a wry smile. Your Majesty, this is not prejudice. The king of Han wanted to keep it secret. You can push his own flesh and blood into the carriage. Such a cruel person. How can we share wealth with others? How can I share the world with the king? King, please wake up. The king of Han is a worldly person. There's nothing he can't do in the world. Enough. Han Xian waved his hand and scolded. These are all rumors. It should be noted that the king of Han is benevolent and righteous. Everyone knows it. The people in Guangzhou lived and died for the king of Han. There are countless more. The king of Han is kind to me. How can I, the king, despise him? Quantong looked pale. King, is this what you're saying? Han Xian remained silent. After waiting for a while, Shenshen replied, Mr. Quantong, you must not persuade me to abandon the king of Han again. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Okay, my subordinate understands. Quantong said nothing more. In my heart, I was extremely disappointed with Han Xian. In his opinion, Han Xin's military ability can be said to be unparalleled in the world. Unfortunately, Han Xin's political vision is really unflattering. Han Xian couldn't even see clearly what kind of person Lu Bang was. How dare you dream of sharing the world with Lu Bang? This is simply asking for death. Bullingham's army camp. Lu Bang's Chinese army battles. At this time, the lights inside the battle were brightly lit. Lu Bang talked with Zhang Liang, Chen Pingzheng and Bingzhu at night. Take the news sent by Chao Dian's fate. Lu Bang sighed leisurely. Mr. Zhang Liang, Mr. Chen Ping. Han Xian and his army have just arrived and it's time to leave the battlefield. Then he was ready to take advantage of Xiang Yu's weakness of having clear commanders and elite troops rush into action. The Chu army was defeated. An ambush was also set up on all sides. It is necessary to catch all the princes in one fell swoop. This is really impressive. Zhang Liang and Chen Ping are both talented people. Where can I not hear the sourness and skill in Lu Bang's words? Think about it too. He, Lu Bang, was rash with 200,000 men, and the Han army pursued the prince with 100,000 men. But you were beaten to death in turn. Almost the whole army was negative. But what about Han Xian? He led 400,000 cavalry troops and just arrived at the battlefield. Then he lost what could be called a perfect technique. Prepared to swallow you and his 100,000 princes completely. If Han Xian takes it seriously, the battle will be successful. Compare those two. Lu Bang was very embarrassed. The most important thing is, with the defeat of Han Xian, the crown prince, a more difficult problem arises. That's because Lu Bang didn't know how to reward Han Xian. Today, Han Xian is already under one person, the king of Qi, who is more than 10,000 people. If you make a great contribution to the world, how should Lu Bang reward Han Xian? Is it possible? Let Lu Bang make Han Xian emperor. Han Xian became emperor. Lu Bang, in turn, became Han Xin's minister. Xiao Mu looked at Lu Bang, who narrowed his eyes slightly. Zhang Liang knows. Lu Bang has already used the killing star on Han Xian. Think from Lu Bang's point of view. Zhang Liang doesn't think Lu Bang is so afraid. What's wrong with Han Xian? After all, one mountain is not as good as two masters. High merit can never be covered up. However, Zhang Liang believed that now was not the time to eradicate his king Han Xin. So he advised, King, the decisive battle has not yet begun. Although Han Xin's strategy is subtle, but there are variables after all. Before Xiang Yu was completely paid, the king must not destroy the city wall himself. Chen Ping also understands this truth. Immediately agreed. King, what Mr. Zhang Liang said makes sense. Now, Xiang Yu is the king's main enemy. As long as we can get rid of Xiang Yu, his mortal enemy, why not let Han Xian become bigger for the time being? Han Xian was proficient in military affairs, but he is incapable of strategizing. It is too easy for the king to control him. Just get rid of the project. The king is the common master of the world. Then you have mastered the righteousness of the world. Even if Han Xian wants to rebel, not many people are willing to follow. Just like General Chao Shen. He and Han Xian have worked together for several years. Watch and help each other. It can be said that we are cultivating our wives and sharing weal and woe. It may involve issues of great interest. He is still facing the king. There is also news from Han Xian. He immediately sent someone to report it. Your majesties will still fills the world. In the hearts of the people of the world and the soldiers of all parties. The king is the great hero who fights against violence and cruelty. This is the democracy in their hearts. He who wins the hearts of the people wins the world. The king can be said to be the common ruler of the world. But Han Xian, Peng Yueying and others cannot. Chen Ping's joke. Lu Bang nodded repeatedly. He also understood that it was not the time to get rid of Han Xian yet. It's just that I feel uneasy because I am too afraid. Now I listen to the advice of Zhang Liang and Chen Ping. Lu Bang's worries were reduced a lot. Temporarily put away the murderous intention towards Han Xian. Waiting for the decisive battle between Chu and Han. The Chu army won a great victory. Your loyal army is in the battle. At this time, Wanshan's Zhengzhao and civil and military affairs were used. Watching GBU, Zhongli Mei and Zi Qi shoot at the ring. The backbone of the crown prince has been inferior to the big battle one after another. You made a fist. The fighting spirit surged in his heart. Wait for everyone to fight in accordance with the health order. You spoke loudly. Everyone. Our army has now arrived. The next step is to continue retreating to Wujiang River. Or decide to fight to the death with the enemy. You may wish to share your views. Xianghua remembered Zhang Liang's instructions. Be the first to speak. So, rebels from all walks of life are closing in on our army. In order not to become a turtle in a urn. It would be better for our army to quickly withdraw to Wujiang. Xiangbo's suggestion is quite serious. I agree. If it was before today, heavy generals may be born and reunited. Because the morale of the army was extremely low at that time. But it's different now. The Chu army had just experienced a great victory in which they captured 30,000 cavalry. The morale of the entire army has improved significantly. It is absolutely possible to fight the enemy. Based on this, not only Xiang Zhuang and Ziki, but also other generals came out to fight fiercely. King, our army still has the strength to fight. Instead of running away in panic, it is better to defeat the enemy. Retreat calmly. You have always been a staunch advocate. I saw my generals fighting proudly in most battles. You are naturally very satisfied. Okay, our army will defeat the enemy first. Then retreat calmly. Xianghua saw that his proposal was ignored. Dissatisfaction suddenly appeared on his face. Why didn't you listen to your uncle's advice? Your dad narrowed his eyes slightly. Because of my uncle's advice. Wrong, my suggestion. Wrong. How is that possible? From here to Wujiang, it is still nearly 100 miles away. There is so much love written along the way. If you cannot retreat calmly. Needless to say, it is easy to be overtaken by the enemy on the way. Arrived at the riverside. Also because there are not enough boats. And could not cross the river smoothly. This retreat is a matter of detail. Xianghua didn't think about it seriously at all. Now I want to refute you. I'm really at a loss for words. Since my uncle has no objection. Then the matter is settled. Etc. Although there is a certain truth to what Yuer just said. But how can Yuer guarantee it? Our army can win a decisive battle with the enemy. Rather than being completely wiped out. The battlefield situation is changing rapidly. Make sure you can win. This king really can't do it. That feather. But I can guarantee it. Even if you can't win, I will not let the enemy have an easy time either. Feel the determination in your words. Unlike Zhuang and Ziki, their hearts beat faster. The blood all over his body began to boil faintly. Feather. You put it lightly. Han Xian is not Lu Bang. It's not easy to make him suffer. Ha 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 ha. Yuer, why are you laughing? This king laughs at his uncle's age and his ambition. Destroy your own prestige. Is this a moment of courage? Or the stars are elsewhere? As soon as you said this, Xiangbo's body trembled as he looked down, breaking into a cold sweat. But, after seeing no other action from you, Xianghua secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Yuer shouldn't make random guesses. My uncle is a descendant of the Xiang family. How can he be like others? The reason why my uncle does not agree with a decisive battle with the enemy, it's because Yuer is worried about being blindly confident. As a result, the entire army faced the crisis of destruction. Certainly, if Yuer has good tactics to defeat the enemy, Uncle is also willing to join Yuer in the charge. The Prime Minister spoke sincerely, plus his special identity. The important general in the account just had a slight suspicion towards him. It disappeared immediately. You didn't even think about saying a few words. Then he exposed Xiangbo's rebellious identity. His method of dealing with his uncle was to kill someone with a borrowed knife. What he was waiting for was the words that Xiangbo was willing to charge into battle with him. Good. Since my uncle is willing to go to war with me, then our army is united. Yu Shu stood up. Come to the map in the center of the battle. Everyone. The terrain here should be open. Extremely suitable for large-scale operations. With Han Xin's ability, it should be expected that our army will fight them to the death and make corresponding arrangements. Han Xing soldiers. He always likes to arrange killing moves according to the opponent's fighting style. And this king uses troops. He has always liked to use his elite troops rashly to attack the enemy and the Chinese army. Achieve great victory by defeating the enemy's mid-range army. If Han Xian wants to win, the elite will be removed and the central army will be replenished. And arranged 2 cavalry units to lurk on both wings of the army. Wait until the warriors are together. The Chinese army led by Han Xian will definitely retreat while fighting. Drag Jin Rui led by this king to hold back. Once the front lines are stretched, Jin Rui, led by this king, separated from the rear of the Chinese army. The cavalry lurking on both wings will suddenly burst out. Cut off our army in two. So it goes. Jin Rui led by this king will be in a dilemma. Wait until Han Xian leads his army to counterattack. Then our army only intends to suffer a disastrous defeat. I listened to your analysis. The heavy general in the tent felt a sense of coldness rushing from the soles of his feet straight to his head. Because they know it in their hearts. If you follow your previous combat habits, it's really possible that Han Xian was plotting against him. Fortunately, you see through this moment. The generals in the tent are looking at you slightly different, although there is also adoration. But before that it was entirely because your jazz was useless. And now it's because of your brilliant love affair. You saw the changes in everyone's demeanor. After nodding with satisfaction, Lang Xing said, "Where is General Xiangzhuang? The end will be here." Xiangzhuang came out. Lang Xing responded, "This king orders you to choose 30,000 surprises. When the time comes, I will follow my king to attack Han Xin's army. The final general takes command. Once the enemy flanks, the cavalry will kill them. Your squad can defeat the enemy's cavalry on both wings. The final general takes command. Where is General Zhongli Mei and General Chu? The end will be here." Zhonglimai is still waiting to be listed. Lang Sun's memories. This king orders you to command the rear army. Always ready to pick one up. The final general takes command. Speaking of which, you stopped. It was as if he had forgotten his brother-in-law. Xianghua couldn't find his own sense of existence. "I thought you were suspicious of him." He immediately offered to stand down. "So, all generals have tasks. Why didn't my uncle? Look at this king's memory. He actually forgot about his uncle." "Please uncle, please don't get used to it," you said apologetically. Then Lang Xing ordered. General Xianghua obeyed the order. "I command you to command 30,000 cavalry and captured prisoners." Once Han Xian led his army to start a counterattack. "You are like this. Feather. How can my uncle take charge?" "General Xianghua, do you want to disobey me? I feel the spiritual murderous aura radiating from your domineering eyes." Xiangbo's heart trembled. He said quickly, "Uncle took the order. The order is in order." You glanced at everyone. Lang Xing said, "Everyone. This battle is related to the future and destiny of Dachu. I also ask you all to do your best. Our army will shoot. Give it your all. Our army will shoot." All the important generals shouted in unison. It must be the end. You stay in the martial arts club. He was ordered to spy on his uncle secretly. As long as Xianghua has something to understand, just kill without mercy. Although Wu Shi doesn't understand, why did you issue such an order? But he is your biggest fan. Now that you have an arrangement, he will execute it unconditionally. Certainly. The martial arts club is not at all undecided. Xiangbo's abnormal behavior today, it also made him revolt in his heart. And your command. This time the suspicion grew a lot. When Wu Shi left your central army tent, it's the third watch of the night. Just when you're hesitating whether or not to commit to a one-night stand, Yuner, UJIS personal maid, entered the big tent. "Bless you," asked respectfully. "The king has finished his official duties." "Good. Please also ask your majesty to go with your maid to pay the bill. The princess has been waiting for a long time. It's been a long time coming." "Ninen in your mouth." Then he ordered, "You lead the way." "Promise." It didn't take long. The two of them arrived at the check-in door. The maid Yuner opens the curtain for you. Then the respectful hands are outside. Do you believe it or not? Visual anxiety. Then he saw Yu lying on the dark ridge and sleeping peacefully. Remove under eyeshadow. UJIS face is so captivating. Appears more delicate and sexy. Like a fairy who has fallen into the mortal world. Yuji comes from a noble family. She is more sensible than the average lady. Even so, the sleeping posture is also extremely elegant. It makes people feel relaxed and strange after watching it. Daytime battle. It also allows you to achieve integration on the battlefield. But emotionally, you still can't let go. After all, Ancient times are different from modern times. Modern popular online dating, or for money, or for the refreshment of consciousness. After in-depth communication with each other, the emotional bond is relatively small, but the rules in ancient times were different. Women in ancient times were relatively focused emotionally, especially Yu. She is still an extremely infatuated woman. Most of the roles of women in history have been transferred between different strong men over the years. A character woman like Yu who is willing to die for the man she loves. It's really too little. Precisely because there are too few. That's even more respectable. You are always decisive. At this moment there was hesitation. Although Yu is her nominal wife. But you can't hold Yu in your arms and sleep peacefully. The beauty is picturesque. You quietly look at Yu quietly. Her beautiful sleeping posture. It makes you a little wet. I don't know how much time passed. The eyelashes on Yu's beautiful eyes trembled slightly. Then, the big watery eyes opened. I saw you looking at me longingly. Yu couldn't help but exclaim, "Ah, your majesty, you are back." Yu, this scream, immediately pulling you back from your thoughts. This king has just arrived. The king must be sleepy. As a concubine, the king undresses me, etc. Your majesty, this is you. The heart shape on Yu's face solidified. What replaced it was a heart-wrenching display of weakness. You feel something strange in your heart. You just realized it. It starts with possessing you. He became everything to Yu, a tragic woman. As soon as it comes, make peace with it. Since he has become Xiang Yu, then he accepted everything Xiang Yu had. Also take on your responsibilities. After the mentality change, you feel relieved. You said lovingly to Yu, don't think too much. I can take off my clothes myself. It's you, my silly princess. Don't go to him to rest when you are sleepy. What should I do if I get cold while sleeping here? The king will feel distressed by then. Feel the care in your words. Yu felt relieved. I guess I think too much. I am waiting here for the king. I fell asleep before I knew it. Your majesty, I miss you. Yu said the last thing. A charming blush appeared on her upturned face. Thinking of Wan Shan's neglect of Yu, you said apologetically. When Yu is good at night, this king shouldn't. Your majesty, there is no need to blame yourself. The king is a great hero who stands upright. How can you think about things between men and women all day long? As long as the king has a concubine in his heart, I can take time to spend time with my concubine. I am satisfied. Yu, you are such a good woman that you can't help but pity. King, although I am a daughter, I am a concubine. But I understand. A good man should have the world in mind. From now on, my concubine will no longer bother you, your majesty. As long as the king has a concubine in his heart, it will be fine. Look at this civil Li. A beauty who understands carelessness. You are deeply moved. You at this time. I don't know what kind of cigarette hood to use to respond to this deeply affectionate beauty. He just held her tightly in his arms. It was as if he wanted to integrate her into his own bones. Love to the depths. Yu, her eyes tightened on her arms. He tilted his face against your generous chest. There is hope in my heart again. Nervous again. Really. You begin to undress him. He felt his whole body begin to heat up. Two small pink fists were pinched tightly in front of the chest. Breathing also became uneven. Everything will fall into place. It was a stormy night in the dormitory. It's spring all the time. Early morning. When the first ray of sunlight shines into the dormitory. You also opened your eyes suddenly. A long-term mercenary career. You are used to waking up every morning. No matter how late I go to bed, it's the same. Just woke up. You just feel a little dizzy. Obviously, this is the aftermath of a stormy night. You shook your head vigorously. His nose twitched. A wisp of fragrance wafts into your nose. Subconsciously, you reached out and touched the bed a few times. But there was nothing. Put on clothes quickly. You lift the curtain. Get ready to leave the dormitory. At this time, a familiar figure appeared outside the sleeping tent. He is wearing a purple shirt, long hair shawl. The eyebrows are picturesque, carrying an exquisite lunchbox. Coming at a leisurely pace. Yu slightly bowed her body to be rude. Suggested in his extremely smooth voice. King, I made some raw soup. You can finish your drink before leaving. Good. You nodded subconsciously. Next to the table. Yu virtuously helps you serve the soup. Then he could hold it down with both hands. Watching you drink soup quietly. You didn't twist. As a result, I took a big gulp of the soup bowl. The raw soup is delicious, constantly stimulating your taste buds. I drank 3 bowls in succession. You just stopped. This small gesture. Yu was extremely satisfied. Look at the happy smile on Yu's face. You intuitively feel that you are at home. For a moment, I didn't even want to leave. But this is where the battlefield finally ends. This is the time for bloody assassinations, not suitable for family warmth. Boom, boom, boom. The dull sound of war drums suddenly sounded. You know it's time to leave. Take care, Your Majesty. I'm waiting for you to come back. Rest assured, this king will come back safely. After a big victory, I want to drink the soup you made again. Good. I am always ready for your Majesty. In the process of heading to the Chinese army battle, you know it from your parents. Han Xian sent someone to deliver the war invitation. Meet for a decisive battle in the middle between the two army camps. It's time for the Chinese army's big battle. You see the prince and generals gathered together and waiting. Hold the battle post high. Step into the spotlight. You spoke loudly, just like what I wanted last night. Han Xian sent a message of war. Decide to fight to the death with our army. What do you think we should do? Fight, fight, fight. The generals shouted in unison. That should be arranged. Everything has been arranged. Next, let's stand up and turn the world upside down. Standing upside down. Everything was turned upside down. Go to war. The troops and horses are endless. There are over 10,000 soldiers and horses. And the sky is dark and the earth is dark. Woohoo! In the distant and long sound of the horn, 100,000 princes marched in neat steps. Follow your purple avenue. Quickly enter the battlefield. In front of the prince, a red avenue, rising slowly from behind the low hills. Followed by, it is a sword and a spear like a spirit. Jasper's surprise. Han Xian, you are finally here. This moment you feel, it's not fear of future war situations, but an endless battle to break the legend. Boom, boom, boom. The Qi and Chu armies were in formation. Almost at the same time, the dull sound of war drums sounded. There was no dialogue between the commanders of the Qi and Chu armies. There is only one word condensed with boundless murderous intent. That is war. You swing the overlord well. Suddenly, Han Xin's great will was revealed. The former army obeyed the order. Attack with me. Be sure to capture Han Xin's avenue. 3. The Chu troops on the shore shouted in unison. Capture Han Xin's road. Capture Han Xin's road. Ta 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 ta. Three-bank cavalry formation. The momentum is huge. The sound of heavy horse hooves on the ground, like countless heavy hammers hitting the hearts of the Qi army's nobles. 800 steps, 500 steps, 300 steps. As the distance between the two armies gets closer and closer, the bodies of the nobles in the central military department of Qi army could not help but tremble. The one who came was the invincible overlord of Chu. How can they not be afraid of this? The Qi soldiers faced inwards. Han Xian, I saw you rashly launching an elite attack. A hint of disdain could not help but appear at the corner of his mouth. Xiang Yu. After all, you are just a brave and fierce common man. Hearing Han Xin's emotion, Kuai Tong Chao's meal, Li Zuoche, and other civil and military officials looked at each other and were speechless. All over the world, I'm afraid only Han Xian dares to say that. Battle of the Giant Road. 400,000 people led by Qin's famous general Zhang Han Wanli. The Qin army is elite. Isn't it because I was defeated by your bravery and fierceness? Heroes such as the King of Han and Liu Bang. Therefore, I have been beaten to death by you, a common man, many times. The Chu army leads the way. You pat the black-coned horse. Charge like a flying sword. Behind him, 30,000 Chu army cavalry followed closely. Together they entered the Qi army's formation. You lead the way, turning Wang Ji up and down. Wherever it passed, there was a bloody storm. You lead the Chu army's cavalry and charge forward bravely in the Qi army's formation. The Qi army was killed in the front line, and the people fell on their backs. The screams continued. See this scene. Li Zuoche looked solemn. Said to Han Xian, King, is Xiang Yu really happy this time? This only takes a moment. Our front line is about to be broken through. Han Xian didn't care much about this. Dai ran order. The dead soldiers came forward, receiving troops from the front line. Following Han Xin's order, a group of people wearing gai. The Shu bowl is exhausted. A dead soldier of the Qing dynasty holding a short sword appeared in front of the prince. Zhang's expression flashed. Shouted to you, Brother Wang. This is a dead cavalry soldier. Death warrior. You smiled coldly. This king makes them dead. Xiang, yes, fate is coming. Several dead cavalrymen held daggers tightly. Even though I know you are number one in the world, they still rushed forward without hesitation. A dead soldier is a dead soldier. To kill the enemy, they will never be stingy with their tokens. But it's a pity. They were facing the most powerful general of all time. The last thing you lack is courage. God's party kills God. The Buddhist party killed the Buddha. Lightning time. Without waiting for a few dead cavalry soldiers to attack, the overlord is extremely sharp and scattered. The sharp letters brought out a cold glow. The next moment, then he saw several heads with competing faces flying into the sky. The narrative dagger in the hands of the dead soldiers of the Qi army. No more chance to stab out. You kill several people with one strike. But soon, several more dead soldiers from the Qi army are rushing towards you. Every inch is stronger. The 8-foot-long bully is squeezed under your 5 holes. It seemed to have turned into the scythe of death, continuously harvesting the luck of the dead soldiers of the Qi army. Seeing how brave my king is, the prince's cavalry followed closely behind, riding for a while. They all started killing without fear of death. On the other hand, the dead soldiers of the Qi army, they no longer have the momentum to move forward. Although the dead soldiers are not afraid of dying in battle, but he is afraid of death. Their deaths also come with a price. But when they found out that they died worthless, they will also back off. Saw the death soldier battalion retreat. The look on Li Zuok's face, from solemnity to horror. The king's death soldier battalion did not block it either. Xiang Yu led his army to kill them. Han Xian frowned, but he soon let go. Don't panic and change to Wuzu Square. Following Han Xin's order, a group of people wearing iron armor, wearing an iron helmet, cavalry heavy infantry armed with iron shields. He walked towards the prince with neat steps. Brother Wang, this is a soldier of the Qi army. Xiang Zhuang couldn't help but remind him loudly. The military soldier in Xiangzhuang's mouth. In fact, they are heavy infantry in full armor, created by Wei's famous generals. Historical records. After Wei Wu soldiers were trained into an army, under the leadership of weapons, they marched south and north. After 72 battles, among them, 64 games were completely won. The rest are tied. Not once did he fail. Qin State is adjacent to Wei State. It can be said that he was deeply troubled by the soldiers of Wei dynasty. A due battle. The 500,000 Qin army was defeated by 50,000 Wei soldiers. As a result, the large area of thin soil to the east of Huashan is warm and dangerous. Qin's population dropped sharply and its national power declined. The Wu clan has a distinguished body. But you are not afraid. Don't panic. Let's see how I defeat him. The next moment, I saw you taking the lead and charging into the Wu clan square formation. Overlord Ji is like a flying thunder. Shocked and mysterious. Knock away all the stabbing Chang'e. Immediately afterwards, Overlord Ji Ruxi has the power of a violent storm. There are sweeping and turning spines. More than 10 bastards from the cavalry martial clan screamed in agony. All were stabbed to death. The Wu clan in front on the right was killed. Elima turned around. Squeeze and sweep. With a wave of momentum, he swept through thousands of troops with great force. Any martial artist who is swept away by the overlord level, without exception, the body is like a kite with its string broken, bounced around. When your offensive slows down, he was within range of Musashi. There was no Qi Junwu alive, left behind. It's just a piece of blood red and crumbled flesh. You are covered in blood. Bamu Qihong looked at him. It just makes the soles of your feet feel cold. Rarely look upon elite soldiers like Qi Jun Wuzu. He was also scared to pieces. The Qi army was so scared that they were stunned. But your offensive will not stop there. During the charge, shake the king's halberd again. Another round of bloody and horrific massacre. These sieges, your cavalry of 5 tribes. It's like a bunch of lambs who don't know their own abilities. To lay siege to a hungry tiger. Not only does it have no power to hurt the tiger, it's extremely cruel. Their attacks will only send them into fox madness. The more you kill, the faster you kill. The more they kill, the more fierce they become. The prince's cavalry following you are also like wolves. Only the 5 tribes of the cavalry were killed and defeated in succession. Seeing the cavalry, the 5 tribes are no match for the cavalry you lead. Big enough to retreat. The whole army fought and retreated. When Yan, the general, looked tense, I couldn't help but feel uneasy. When the 2 armies were fighting, the most taboo thing is to retreat. There aren't many troops, so that's okay. Once the number of troops exceeds 100,000, it's very difficult to retreat. Maintain effective command of all units under his command. Therefore, it will appear if you are not careful. The whole army was defeated. In the eyes of the Qi army generals, facing a peerless warrior like you, a strict confrontation is extremely difficult. When retreating, he was chased and beaten. It's harder to take control of the situation. Li Zuocha gritted his teeth. Advise Han Xian again. Although the king's previous plan was clever. However, Xiang Yu's bravery exceeded our army's expectations. Based on the current situation, it won't be long. Xiang Yu's lockstep cavalry will completely break through our army's center formation. Once Xiang Yu led his army to completely break through Zheluan, kill in front of the king, the consequences would be disastrous. Please think again, Your Majesty. General Chao Shen felt the same way. He also quickly agreed. What the king, General Li Zuocha, said makes sense. With the strength of Xiang Yu's lockstep cavalry, it won't be long before he is killed in front of the king. The so-called son of a rich man sits down in the hall. Our army can still defeat the prince. After hearing this, Han Xian. But he waved his hand. You don't need much persuasion. Xiang Yu has fallen into the trap this time. Should be worried. It was Xiang Yu who should be afraid. Past the king's order, the avenue retreats. The whole army fought and retreated. Han Xian has made up his mind. All the generals know that persuasion is useless. Then he began to act according to the order. It didn't take long. Xiang Zhuang retreated when he saw Qi Jun Dao. He said to you quickly, Brother Wang, as you expected last night, descendants of Han Xian Avenue. Qi Jun really withdrew. Han Xin's fighting style is to kill this king this time. Now that he has set the stage, then we will act out a big show with him. Speaking of which, you, Lang Sun, have given the order. Ship Ben Wang order. Big enough to move forward. The whole army pursued him. As your orders are given. The princes and princes began to pursue each other. Among them, the cavalry led by you is the fastest in pursuit. But the further you go, the further down you go. You admire Han Xin's commanding ability even more. Organize the retreat of hundreds of thousands of troops. The difficulty can be described as extremely high. A bad one. It is easy for the entire army to collapse. But Han Xian did exactly what he said. I am Han Xingbing. The more the better. Under Han Xin's superb command skills, hundreds of thousands of cavalry retreated without chaos, gradually weaving into a great elastic work. Just wait until the time comes. It rebounded strongly. Charge, 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 charge. You become a qualified actor. Try your best to cooperate with Han Xian. He led his troops in pursuit all the way. The battle line is getting longer and longer. The cavalrymen faced inwards. Han Xian looked at more and more cavalry, but they were scattered, defeated, overwhelmed. Your powerful ability to lead an army into battle. I dare to admire you. Although Han Xin's face has always been calm, but the Qing soldiers who were most familiar with Han Xian were small. Han Xian was equally nervous. Over time, the distance between the prince's various ministries has obviously widened. The situation is evolving in a direction that is beneficial to the Qi army. Final victory seemed close at hand. Behind Han Xian, Huai Tong Li Zuoche, Chao Shen and other civil and military officials all looked solemn. Replace it with any one of them. It is absolutely impossible to do like Han Xian. Dispatch all troops and horses as directed. Even in the face of the fierce attack of the prince. You can also fight and retreat at the same time. Take it easy. It feels like the time is almost right. Han Xian reined in his horse and stopped. Pull out the purple moon sword from your waist. Point towards the prince's avenue. Lang Xing ordered. Past the king's order. Smoke was lit in the rear formation. General Kong 11 and General Chen He were ordered to lead the army to attack. Be sure to cut off the prince's formation. Make it difficult for them to get through each other. The ministries immediately stopped retreating. Turn around and counterattack. Between fists, the prince is today. The king has an order. Counterattack. Between fists, the prince is today. Hundreds of flags galloped the horses like flying. Spread Han Xin's order throughout the army. With two eye-catching wolf smoke rising from Qi Jun's rear formation. The cavalry of Kong 11 and Chen He had been lying in wait for a long time. Immediately turned into two sharp knives. Stabbed the prince's center array. At the same time, the troops of Qi Jun, who were fighting and retreating, immediately changed their actions to the rear. Turn around and counterattack. For a time, the battle situation was reversed. The balance of victory seems to have tilted towards Qi Jun. On a high slope several miles away, Liu Bang was accompanied by Zhang Liang and Chen Ping. They are on the battlefield where they are jumping high and far ahead to fight. Seeing that the battle situation developed as Han Xian planned, Liu Bang felt happy and worried at the same time. Happily, his worst enemy is about to be defeated miserably. Worryingly, after a powerful enemy disappears, another powerful potential threat is slowly emerging. Let's go. Liu Bang frowned. There was a hint of coldness in his tone. After returning, you have to start thinking about things that Han Xian doesn't care about. Zhang Liang and Chen Ping looked at each other. Qi hard night. Promise. A chaotic battlefield. You saw the smoke rising from the Qi army's rear formation, as well as the various armies that began to turn around and counterattack. First, he sent his confidants to pass orders to the martial arts club that supervised Xiangbao. Then he divided the remaining 20,000 Qi soldiers in the charge into two. You and Xiangzhuang each have half the troops and break out from the left and right sides of the battlefield. You need to outflank the cavalry on both sides of the cavalry. Although there are hundreds of thousands of cavalry troops, but there are only 40,000 to 50,000 elite cavalry. Just eat the cavalry on both sides of the cavalry. The cavalry will lose its strongest mobility. This way, as long as the Chu army is not destroyed in one battle this time, then you can retreat calmly. Han Xing kept staring at your broadsword. After discovering that you led the army to Zhuang and left, although he can't guess your intentions in a short time, but they still chased you and Xiangzhuang. For Han Xing, since the cavalry is no longer in good condition, it would be best for the situation to develop according to his calculations. Once there are chess pieces, you want to jump out of the chessboard. Naturally, he had to push him back because you and Xiangzhuang led their armies to leave respectively. This left a gap in the Chujin's front defense. This time, under the supervision of Wuxia, you will be led by Qin Bing. Xiangbo pushed forward with 30,000 chess army prisoners. The prisoners of the chess army still wore the uniforms and armor of the chess army. Very easy to identify. After the counterattacking chess army saw it, he quickly called out to these former brothers. Something that puzzles the counterattacking chess army. The prisoners of the chess army on the opposite side didn't react much. It was as if they no longer recognized their brothers. Seeing the counterattack, the Qi army was making useless efforts. A mocking smile appeared on Wuxi's face. Immediately send the order to Xiang Bo. Xiang Bo really wanted to disobey. He even revealed the prince's arrangements to the Qi army. You can see the martial archer holding your command arrow. Next to you are your Qing soldiers who are monitoring you with murderous intent. In desperation, I had no choice but to act as ordered. It didn't take long. The prince's crossbowman was responsible for guarding the prisoners of the Qi army. He began to draw his bow and sword. But they were not targeting the Qi army counterattacking on the opposite side. But they were prisoners of the Qi army in several military formations. If you get close, look, just discover it. The prisoners of the Qi army only wore breastplates. There was no defense at all on the back. Not only that, they were also connected by long ropes. So it goes. The Qi army prisoners could only keep moving forward. Once something changes, thousands of arrows will be fired from behind. Shoot them one by one into hedgehogs. The prisoners of Qi army heard the sound of bowstrings being pulled behind them. Everyone turned pale with fear. He rushed forward involuntarily. The counterattacking Qi army saw a group of Qi army prisoners coming towards them. Their eyes widened. His face was full of disbelief until a group captured the Qi army and slashed at them with a song. Only then did they realize something was wrong. He hurriedly waved his sword and gun to attack. For a time, the two Qi armies fought in the wilderness. No matter how you look at this scene, there is a sense of rolling. Han Xian saw the Qi army being besieged one after another, and his own people were killed at the bottom. He quickly rode forward. He drank it down to the prisoners of Qi army. This king is here. How dare you rebel? If it were the past, Han Xian is a crane. We will definitely be able to drink these prisoners of Qi's army. What a pity. These prisoners of the Qi army had their own difficulties. For the sake of life, they could only rush forward involuntarily. The prisoners of the Qi army were protected by breastplates. You won't necessarily die if you rush forward. But once it stops, they would either die if they were knocked over by one of their own, or be shot into a piercing kiss by the hand of the prince's slave behind. If it is a general encountered this situation, it will definitely make you panic. Don't know how to deal with it. But Han Xian is the top commander. How can we tolerate these ignorant prisoners of the Qi army? Destroy your own taboo of annihilating the prince. The Kong team ordered from left to right. Crossbowmen prepare. The prisoners at the front dare to collide with our counterattack formation again. Shoot arrows immediately to kill them all. Cao Shen felt that there was something wrong with doing this. Immediately advised. King, in front are all Qi Junerlang. If ordered to kill, the soldiers were afraid that they would be disappointed. Chilling. His heart was chilled and his face looked extremely cold. Open your eyes and take a look. They are the prisoners of the prince. They betrayed the king. If this king doesn't order all of them to be killed, these rebellious people not only want to kill more of our soldiers, even the taboo of annihilating the Chu army will be destroyed. Cao Shen looked at the killing scene ahead. Want to say something? In the end, I chose silence. The outer left wing of the Qi Army General Kong 11 has been paying attention to the development of the battlefield situation. After seeing that the Qi army's formation was stretched as Han Xian expected, I immediately admired Han Xian to the extreme. Thinking of myself in this battle between the great sage Chu and the overlord Xiang Yu, occupying a strong and colorful stroke, Kong 11 felt that the blood in his body began to boil. It was at this time, Lieutenant General Meng Qing reminded him, General Kong 11, look, our army's rear line was ignited with smoke. Kong 11 went out looking for fame. He immediately burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. This is the king telling us that we can attack. The whole army obeyed the order. The Chu army has fallen into the king's clever plan. Everyone, follow me and charge. This is the time to make great achievements. As Kong 11 gave an order, the 20,000 cavalrymen who had been lying in wait for a long time immediately charged against the Chu army's formation. They wanted to charge the Chu army's formation in one go. There are less than 10,000 cavalry. Invincible. The power created by the rapid charge of 20,000 cavalry really earth-shattering. Jibu saw this scene, but in my heart, I didn't panic. Because your enemy has the upper hand. He was fully prepared. Under the command of the successor. 10,000 sword and shield soldiers and 10,000 singing soldiers, forming a huge shield wall with thorns on each side. And behind the shield wall, then there are 10,000 crossbowmen. They were arranged in 5 columns. Always be ready to shoot in rotation. The Qi army's cavalry charged very quickly. It only takes a moment. There was a fierce collision with the Chu army's shield wall, a combination of shield formation and extended singing formation. It caused a lot of damage to the Qi army's cavalry. This made Kong 11, who was directing from behind, frowned secretly. Just when Kong 11 was considering whether to attack in another direction, the Chu army stood in the center of the formation. Suddenly a huge mouth opened. The Chu army's formation suddenly broke. Everyone went to the breach to kill. I don't know who roared first. The Qi army's cavalry suffered a bloody head-on collision in other directions. They all yelled and turned to the central breach. Meng Qingying felt something was wrong. He quickly reminded Kong 11 to pay more attention. It's best to keep your back in case the situation changes suddenly. What a pity. Kong 11 made great contributions. No attention was paid to this issue at all. In his opinion, Meng Qing was completely worried. As long as the prince's shield formation is broken, there is no more power. It can block the charge of the cavalry and iron cavalry. Cold weapon age. The cavalry charged in groups. It does have such power. But Kong 11 ignored a key issue. That is the prince's shield formation. It was proactively broken through. In order to break down the prince's defense as soon as possible. In order to make great achievements before Chen He, who is in charge of the right wing. Kong 11 led the rear cavalry and also rushed into the central breach. Mouth. I can see the sharp long songs. What shocked Kong 11 even more. A sharp box suddenly came from in front of the central breach. The crossbowmen obeyed orders. Rotary shooting. Following the order of the technical steps. Continuous and dense sword shadows. Rushing towards the central breach. The mounted cavalry pounced. For a time, a large number of cavalrymen were shot off their horses. Down. And these fallen cavalry. Many more cavalrymen stumbled. The cavalry formation was in chaos. See this scene. Kong 11 shouted quickly. Not good. There is an ambush here. The cavalry behind them stopped quickly. Kong Zai's reaction was not slow. It's a pity that once the war horse starts running, it's not that easy. Stop. Not to mention most of the mounted cavalry, also inspired by the courage of his companions. So it goes. Kong Zai's order not only did it not solve the problem, also made the entire charge team. It's not comfortable to go in. Retreating is uncomfortable. The lethality of cavalry groups. A large part came from the cavalry. The powerful impact brought by high-speed charge. Once you rush, you will be defeated. The lethality will be much greater immediately. And congested environment. Easier to leave groups of cavalry idle. The entire central breach channel was originally very wide, but under the constant squeeze of the Dongo combination killing formation on both sides. But it is getting narrower and narrower. The crossbow arrows are like rain in front. The two sides were at war with each other. A group of cavalrymen suddenly discovered it. They had been driven by ferocious wolves. Became a lamb to be slaughtered. Ha 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 ha. Everyone said that Han Xian was so good at using troops. But this time it has completely fallen into the hands of the king. I think the king is truly a god in wielding troops. The battle went surprisingly smoothly. This made GBU feel more relaxed. I am even more impressed with your ability to anticipate the enemy. Ta 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 ta. The dull sound of horse hooves came from a distance. Do you remember going there in search of prestige? Immediately, he saw a familiar avenue with Chinese characters appearing in his sight. Do you remember? This is where you lead your army to outflank us. Ready to give the Qi cavalry a fatal blow. Under your command. Prince Wanshi quickly defeated the Qi army's cavalry rear formation. Blocked most of the Qi army's cavalry in the central breach. Suddenly he became a turtle in the play. A group of Qi army cavalry immediately panicked. They are like ants on a hot pot. Rushing blindly. Under the pressure of death crisis. Some people started going crazy. To escape, they pushed desperately against their fellow runners. So it goes. This caused many cavalrymen to turn into moths. Extremely unwilling, he threw himself into the rain of goring sword. For a while, throughout the central aisle, ringing one after another. It's all the sound of swords piercing the air. The long song breaks the armor. There were shouts of curses and screams. It only takes a moment. The casualties of the cavalry were close to 10,000. Even though many people survived, it's not something to be thankful for either. Because this is just a death sentence. You are in an underworld where your life can be locked at any time. The panic in Kong Zai's heart became more and more intense. Looking at the exit from 50 units away, Kong Zai's face instantly became extremely contentious. He is highly regarded by his king. The future will be brighter. He will definitely become a prince and lose his chancellorship. I can't die here. You must not die here. Kong Zai's eyes were red. He kept swinging his sword to attack the subordinates who were blocking the way. Get away. Get away quickly. Several cavalrymen were unable to react in time, or they didn't expect that their general would attack them. He was even hacked to death by Kong 11 one after another. Kong Zai's deputy general Meng Qing saw this scene. He immediately asked in anger, General Kong 11, these people are all your subordinates. How could you be so cruel? Brutal. Kong 11 glared back at Meng Qing. They are just ants. Why should we care? Finished. Kong 11 ignored Meng Qing. He rode his horse forward over the corpses of his subordinates. It didn't take long. Kong 11 was blocked because the road ahead was blocked. He was also preparing to slash forward with his sword. At this time, Meng Qing couldn't stand it. He quickly reminded him loudly, brothers ahead, be careful. Get out of the way quickly. For Meng Qin's women. Kong 11 hugged Yi and sneered. He just rode forward on his own. When he was about to escape from the central breach, Kong 11 felt energetic for a while. Laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha. God bless. This general finally escaped, and he hasn't finished speaking these 4 words yet. Kong 11 seemed to be strangled suddenly. The sound stopped suddenly because he suddenly discovered several cavalry troops outside the central breach has been replaced by the prince's cavalry, especially the purple brain with guilt blowing in the wind. It made him even more nervous. Just when Kong 11 felt desperate, the cavalry you lead are behind. Suddenly there was a shouting and killing sound. Kong 11 went out looking for fame. Soon it was discovered that reinforcements from several armies were coming. At this moment, he was filled with joy and joy. May God bless you. No more worries about life. This is indeed something to be happy about. But as soon as Kong 11 thought of himself, he pretended to have ruined the errand assigned by Han Xiang. I felt a headache again. As Han Xin's old ominous character, Kong 11 knew it very well. Han Xin's rigorous military management style. I missed something big this time. Absolutely no good fruit to eat. Perhaps God is really tired of Kong 11. Just when he didn't know how to deal with Han Xiang, you actually put the prince next to you. The cavalry were sent to fight. Source: Cavalry. He stood alone outside the central breach. One man is an official. No one can stop it. No. This is the perfect opportunity for him, Kong 11, to make a difference. At least, that's what Kong 11 thinks. Soldiers. Xiang Yu was alone and they're alone. Just kill him. We can turn defeat into victory. We can make great achievements. Everyone, follow me. Kong 11 was very motivated. He rushed towards you immediately. Behind him, not many cavalry followed. There are only more than 100 riders. Obviously, this is the sequelae of killing his own people before. Although Kong 11 was not very satisfied with the result, but the sword on the string has to be punished. He had no choice but to bite the bullet and rush forward. But you saw Kong 11 coming towards you. Doesn't seem to care at all. Not only did he not mention preparations for war. Instead, he closed his eyes and raised his head. Kong 11 saw you being so procrastinating. Anger simmered in his heart. The force exerted by both legs on the horse's belly continued to increase, increasing several points. Just when the 2 horses were only 3 feet apart, you suddenly opened your curtain. 2 eyes as sharp as blades. It shot straight into Kong Zai's eyes. Kong Zai's body trembled. Just for a moment. In his mind, he thought about turning around and running away. The thought of saving one's life is important. Instruct. Don't wait for Kong 11 to take action. You leap into the sky with a sideways black cone horse. The overlord squeezes in the hand, cutting across like lightning. A fight against Kong 11. Kong 11 intuitively felt that he was enveloped in a strong murderous aura. I want to turn sideways and avoid it. But he couldn't move. Cry and eat. The sound of weapons entering flesh sounded sharp. Several winds passed through Kong Zaibo's stem at the same time. A big head flew into the sky. See this scene. Shui Yu followed Kong 11. Qi Jun's mouths all opened in shock. He quickly reined in his horse and stopped. You reached out to catch Kong Zai's head. After the side horse approaches the central breach, Langxing said. The Qi army officers listen. Kong 11 is dead. If you want to survive, then dismount quickly and surrender. Looking at Kong Zai's dissatisfied and frightened head, how can the remnants of the Qi army still have the courage to resist? They all dismounted and surrendered. Successfully captured 20,000 cavalry on the left flank of the Qi army. A satisfied smile appeared on your face. Although you don't know the specific situation at Yuzi Xiangzwang, but you believe it. In the case of mental arithmetic but no intention, the results of Yuziki Xiangzwang's victory must be considerable. The 2 flanks of the Qi army's cavalry were eliminated. Next it was time to deal with the Qi army reinforcements that were chasing after them. Although there are as many as 50,000 Qi army reinforcements on the left wing, but the Chu army cavalry took advantage of the situation and killed them. Still losing consecutively. I guess it won't take long. There will be a total collapse. A melee battleground in the middle. Because of Han Xin's cold-blooded determination, the 30,000 Qi soldiers captured were soon severely damaged. Some prisoners of the Qi army fell into a state of madness under the double death crisis. Kill all around. The prime minister was responsible for commanding 30,000 cavalry prisoners. Because it's close. Being trapped by dozens. The cavalry prisoners were besieged in a state of madness. Chao Shen has sharp eyes. After discovering Xiangwa, remind Han Xian immediately. Your Majesty, the traitor is there. It seems like this was the case before. Commanding the prisoners of our army. There was coldness in Han Xin's tone. General Chao Shen. Mr. Xiang, this is an insult to the military power of our army. But you took his head. Your Majesty, later. The end will come as soon as it goes. Chao Shen acted in a fickle manner. Soon, he led his army to attack the prime minister. Chao Shen, the general of Qi state, is here. Brother Xiang is a thief. Inner destiny comes. Hearing Chao Shen's congratulations, Xiangwa was shocked. I thought to myself, Why did Chao Shen target me? Because of Zhang Liang's identity. Xiang Bo was not worried that Chao Shen would kill him. What troubles him is that there are many princes around him. If your identity is revealed now, it will definitely affect Zhang Liang's plan. Chao Shen didn't know what Xianbo was thinking. Don't want to know either. He slapped the horse and jumped. The crescent moon is high and below zero. It's like carrying the power of digging mountains and hunting rocks. Feeling the threat of Chao Shen's attack, Xiangbo didn't dare to be careless. He quickly raised his knife to block it. Just listen to a loud bang. Between the four swords of Mars, Xiangbo, who had reached the first-class level of combat power, was shocked to be knocked back several steps. There was no severe pain coming from the mouth. Let Xianbo understand clearly. He is no match for Chao Shen. Just when Xianbo was hesitant to reveal his identity, Chao Shen's crescent moon squeeze strikes again. Cut and sweep Liao thorns. The offensive was extremely rapid. Xiangbo's combat power was already as fast as Chao Shen's. Now distracted again. He was quickly killed and lost his legs in succession. Ying is in fear of her life. Critical moment. Xianbo should also risk it. He resisted with difficulty. He said urgently, General Chao Shen, stop it. You can't kill me. Can't kill you. How ridiculous. Notice, you and I are mortal enemies. Chao Shen responded jokingly, crescent moon in hand. There was no intention of stopping the attack. General Chao Shen, you really can't kill me. We are our own people. His own people. Why didn't you say you don't have a surname? To tell you the truth, I have secretly taken refuge with the King of Han. Now under the orders of Mr. Zhang Liang, lurking beside Xiang Yu, secretly took refuge in King Xiang. Under the orders of Zhang Liang, he lurked. If someone else said this, for example, Zhongli's sister can't remember to return Chu and others, Chao Shen might believe it. But who is Xiang Bo? He is Xiang Yan's son. He's your uncle. He is the first-class dignitary of Chu state. In Chao Shen's opinion, Uncle Xiang will never betray you. Based on this judgment, Chao Shen felt that Xiang Bo was treating him as a fool. While feeling angry in my heart, Yu Yaji's offensive became even more rapid. Xiang Bo complained secretly. I felt extremely depressed. He never expected it. Chao Shen didn't believe what he said. Another 7 or 8 rounds later, Xiang Bo showed a flaw. He was knocked off his horse by Chao Shen just before Chao Shen's came forward. When he was about to chop off Xiangbo's cell phone with one blow, a pair of relatives rushed over from the direction of the Han army camp. The leading knight shouted loudly, General Chao Shen, leave a few people behind. Chao Shen knew the leading knight. This person's name is Zhang Meng. He is Zhang Liang's personal bodyguard. Zhang Meng escorted. What do you mean? Zhang Meng replied, I came here to inform General Chao Shen on the order of my master. Xianghua is one of our own. How is this possible? I don't know the specific situation either. I just came to rescue Mr. Xiang on the order of my master. Listen to the conversation between Chao Shen and Zhang Meng. Xianghua was ecstatic. According to the theory, I can be saved. But Xianghua ignored one thing. That's the one who can decide his fate now. Except for Chao Shen and Zhang Meng. And Han Xian. Even Han Xian played a more critical role. Han Xian has always been good at training and using troops. But today, there was a situation where 30,000 prisoners disobeyed and defected. This will greatly damage his power. Because of this reason, Han Xian had previously sent Chao Shen to get the Prime Minister's cell phone. Also for this reason, he came to Chao Shen. He asked coldly, General Chao Shen, are you preparing to disobey my king's order? Was suddenly questioned. Chao Shen was a little confused. He replied quickly, the general will not dare. Please show me your majesty. Since I don't dare, then why don't you take Xiangbo's mobile phone and give it to me? But guard Zhang Meng said that Xiangbo was one of his own. Mr. Zhang Liang wants to protect him. If it's something else, Han Xian will consider betraying Zhang Liang to save face. But he had previously given a royal order to get the Prime Minister's cell phone. Where can it be easily invalidated? At least in Han Xin's view, the state of Chu will be destroyed. Xianghua is no longer relevant. For the sake of Uncle Xiang, a duplicitous person, he lost his royal prestige. It's really not worth it. Based on this, Han Xian continued to give orders to Chao Shen. This king has always said something with bad intentions. Now that I have said it, I want to kill my uncle. Then he will never give up. General Chao Shen quickly cut off Xiangbo's cell phone. Zhang Meng saw Han Xian and insisted on killing his uncle. Suddenly anxious. King Qi, wait a moment. Xianghua is the person named by my master to protect. I also asked King Qi to give my master some face. No, this is related to my military prestige. Not to mention Mr. Zhang Liang. Not even if the king of Han comes. King Qi, you get out of here. If it is because you missed the important matter of annihilating the prince, this king is asking you. Han Xian is extremely strong. Zhang Meng had no choice. He had no choice but to go back and revive Zhang Liang first. Xianghua saw Zhang Meng being taken away by Han Xinqi. A slightly relaxed heart tightened up again. Looking at Chao Shen who was approaching, Xianghua quickly knelt down and begged Han Xian. King Qi spares his life. I have important military intelligence reports regarding the victory of this great war. Chao Shen took advantage of the situation situation and stopped. His eyes turned to Han Xian, waiting for Han Xian to make a decision. Han Xian didn't even look at Xiang Yu. One word popped out of his mouth. He said that Xiang Yu did not dare to hesitate. He replied quickly, "The King of Qi has arranged a killing plan to target your weakness of rash elite assaults on the Central Army. You have seen through it." What? Han Xian was shocked when he heard this. He hurriedly walked towards his uncle. "What on earth is going on? If you dare to deceive even a little bit, this king will cut you into pieces." Although Han Xian said it fiercely, but Xiang Yu breathed a sigh of relief. "According to the law, my life was saved. Just when Mr. Xiang is about to reveal your plan, a loud call has come from not far away. General Xiang Yu, the traitor Han Xian is right in front of you." At this time, the general was not alive, so he killed him. "When will it be more?" When Xiang Yu heard this, Wuxi shouted in congratulations. "I secretly thought it was going to be worse." Sure enough, Han Xian quickly retreated. On the other hand, he ordered Chao Shen to take action. Chao Shen was shocked and angry. "How dare you lose your memory? The crescent moon is as crowded as lightning." He slashed at Xiangbo's neck. Pounce! With the sound of the crescent moon squeezing like flesh, Xiangbo's head was filled with fear and unwillingness. Soaring into the sky. "See you in the middle." The Qi army was greatly inspired. But what they don't understand is, wounded tiger. Far scarier than when he wasn't injured. Your pair of domineering curtains becomes more powerful. There are also fewer tricks when charging. The Qi army's crossbowmen were at a distance. There are still about 10 steps to go. You slapped the horse's belly sharply. Wu Zhuai Ma leaped up. In the blink of an eye, he threw himself in front of the Qi army's crossbowmen. No distance buffer. The crossbowmen became the most vulnerable soldiers. Under your swift charge, pieces fled. And Han Xian was no longer calm at this time. For the sake of your life, he also had to temporarily force himself to the edge. But none of Han Xian escaped. He slowly retreated. It is difficult to dispatch troops and horses on one side, even prepared to take advantage of military strength. It will consume you to death. Such coping methods. It can be said that Han Xin's top commander's temperament is fully revealed. The further you chase, the further away you go, faintly falling into a state of being surrounded. This time, how could you not understand Han Xin's carelessness? Made impossible to complete. To capture the thief, capture the king first. You stop decisively and pursue in depth. Turn around the dock to meet up with the prince's cavalry. In your opinion, as long as there are enough of them around you, even if there are injuries, you can also win handsomeness as much as possible. You can retreat safely. Han Xian saw you and decisively turned around the dock to meet up with him. The evaluation of you in my heart, it couldn't help but improve by 1 point. Talk about it. Before Han Xian, he even heard the defeat report from Liang Yi. "I still think that you were just lucky enough to defeat his plan." But this time it was a head-to-head confrontation. "Han Xian not only feels your unparalleled richness, I also feel your decisiveness and wisdom. Under such circumstances, if Han Xian still regards you as a common man who can fight ruthlessly, then he is an adult himself. Refreshed my understanding of you." Han Xian knew that the outcome of this battle could not be determined completely. Keep standing. It will only increase casualties. It's better to take advantage of the nightfall. First withdraw your troops and return to the battle. Let's do the calculation again. He'll fight you again. Han Xian had the idea of a truce. You also have the idea of occupation. This moment, two mortal enemies. There was a rare tacit understanding. Han Xian and you are both action boards. After making a decision in my heart, the army immediately began to evacuate. When the moon rises above the willow branches, you bring more than 80,000 soldiers and horses. Return calmly and it's time to leave the base camp. This battle, the Chu army destroyed the main cavalry force of the Qi army. Killed Qi army General Kong 11. The assassination of Han Xian. Attacking his prince will be the same hatred as the enemy. Considering that the situation is still serious, you don't have a small victory. 1. The injury was treated well by the marching doctor. Then he went to the wounded barracks to express condolences. Arrive at the wounded barracks. You didn't do anything on purpose. Just a few quick greetings. Or lend a hand appropriately. But even if it is just such a simple contribution, you still get something. The heartfelt recognition and respect from the prince's wounded soldiers. When leaving the wounded barracks, you looked into a pair of passionate eyes. There is no doubt that these wounded soldiers will defend you. I will fight to the death for you. The heart is touched. You can't help but sigh. The ancient nobles were really simple. It's really easy to be satisfied. Wait until you return to the Chinese army's tent. It's the second watch of the night. Looking at Yuner who was guarding outside the tent. You know, Princess Yuji is waiting for her with her bill. Come to Yuner. You order. Yuner. You go and tell the cook to prepare some food and bring it to the bill. Promise. Yuner respectfully accepted the order. Wait for Yuner to leave. You did not enter the Chinese army's tent. Instead, he rushed directly to Ujis dormitory. You just arrived outside the tent. A happy voice came from inside. But the king is back. You lift the curtain. Take the lead. Well, back. King, you are injured. Don't worry, it was just a mosquito bite. Let me take a look quickly. The king is an upright man. I don't care about this little injury, but I am worried. You feel warm in your heart. Slowly untie the gauze, showing the wound on his chest. Take a look. Just a minor injury. Ujis soft clothes gently caressed your chest. See that the wound is not in a critical location. The sword window is not deep either. Then he breathed a sigh of relief. But, out of concern for you, Uji still requested, King, can you promise to do something personally? Tell me about this first and listen. The king is the overlord. He is also the pillar of Chu state. No mercy. I sincerely hope that the king will be in the next battle. Stop being suspected of charging into battle yourself. You fell silent. You understand Uji's thoughts. I also know that what Uji said makes sense. But now the prince is facing a dilemma. We need the crown prince to risk his life and fight with all his strength. As the prince and commander-in-chief, as the soul of the entire army, you need to lead by example. Uji gets the answer from your reaction. Although a little disappointed, he still said with a smile, Your Majesty, there is no need to worry. Now, our army is facing a dilemma. The king really needs to charge into battle. Wait until this crisis is over. Please, Your Majesty, take good care of yourself. It's better for you to refuse again. He replied with a smile. Okay, I agree. Get the answers you want. Uji smiled knowingly. Bandage your wound carefully. Han army camp. Even though the night is dark, but the lights in Lu Bang's Chinese army battle were still bright. Lu Bang is seated at the top, taking the main seat. He held the latest battle report in his hand. There was some uncertainty on his face. The result of the next battle was actually somewhat beyond Lu Bang's expectations. Han Xian has the advantage in terms of military strength. There is a clever plan at hand. In the end, he actually lost. What was even more unacceptable to Lu Bang was always applicable and very tender. Not only did he use his skills in this battle, and he is even better than Han Xian. Others will use skills. Not scary. The scary thing is that you know how to use skills. After all, reckless man, you can already suppress Lu Bang and beat him. If you are both civil and military, wouldn't it be contrary to heaven? Below Lu Bang, Zhang Liang and Chen Ping acted accordingly. They all had a hint of complexity on their faces. Obviously, the result of such a battle. It was also somewhat beyond the expectations of Zhang Liang and Chen Ping. The three of them have their own thoughts. They were all silent and didn't speak. For a while, the atmosphere in the account was quite depressing. I don't know how much time passed. Lu Bang asked with a stern face. Mr. Zhang Liang, Mr. Chen Ping, what do you think? Zhang Liang cast a look at Chen Ping, motioning for him to answer first. Chen Ping did not twist the mud, replied directly. The king's subordinates felt that there was something fishy in this. What's strange? Strange. What kind of person is Xiang Yu? The king has been fighting with him for many years. Nothing could be more clear. As the saying goes, a country changes. Nature is hard to change. Is Xiang Yu's trick this time a coincidence? Xiang Yu is really good at both civil and military affairs. It really needs to be explored. Why use a knife? Lu Bang felt that what Chen Ping said made sense. Then he asked, That's up to you. Is Xiang Yu's trick this time a coincidence? Still really good at both civil and military skills. Chen Ping thought for a while. He replied carefully. From the perspective of hard-to-change nature, the subordinates are more inclined to Xiang Yu, so it is a coincidence. Good. This king thinks so too. A smile appeared on Lu Bang's face. Yu Dai said contemptuously. This time Xiang Yu is a reckless person who is illiterate. He has been fighting hard for so many years. It is impossible to suddenly become both civil and military. Lu Bang is unwilling to accept the fact that you have become both civil and military. I dare not accept it either. He can achieve this achievement now. The root cause was the removal of capable people under his command. But your repeated mistakes are also an important factor. And Chen Ping reached a consensus on this matter. Lu Bang felt a lot better. Then he asked Zhang Liang again. Mr. Zhang Liang, what do you think about this? Zhang Liang looked outside the tent. He spoke slowly. King, your and Mr. Chen Ping's insights. The subordinates also agreed with it. But what? The subordinates believe that there is another possibility. Which possibility? Han Xian. This time the clever plan was forced. It's probably because you have an expert under your command. A master similar to Fan Zheng. Hear the word Fan Zheng. Lu Bang and Chen Ping were shocked. Who is Fan Zheng? Before Fan Zheng, he was your chief advisor. Black Sail is violent. He escorted all the princes under his command. Forced Lu Bang and his party to Bashu. He was indispensable. If you hadn't been hit by Chen Ping's alienation halberd, suspicion dominates Fan Zheng. It caused a generation to die of depression. Perhaps Lu Bang and his party are still in the important land of Bashu. But even though Fan Zheng died, the rest is still there. Lu Bang and Chen Ping knew how powerful Fan Zheng was. That's why he reacted so powerfully. Calm down a little. Lu Bang couldn't help but ask. Mr. Zhang Liang, do you know who the master under Xiang Yu is? Zhang Liang shook his head. Don't hide it from your majesty. Are you not sure whether the master has subordinates? It's just what my subordinates think. The person who can perfectly crack Han Xin's killing scheme. His ability must be similar to that of Fan Zheng. We all belong to Han Xian. Use military force against him. They all know each other quite well. In the eyes of subordinates. Let's just talk about the means of using troops. There is nothing like this in the whole world. I'm afraid he'll be defeated. Likewise, we also know Xiang Yu's mortal enemy very well. In the eyes of subordinates. Unless Xiang Yu has changed someone. Otherwise, he definitely doesn't have the ability to perfectly crack Han Xin's killing game. Even the so-called coincidence. It is also difficult to do this. So, the subordinates judged that Xiang Yu was able to perfectly break Han Xin's killing scheme. It should be that he has an expert like Fan Zheng under his command. Listen to Zhang Liang's analysis. It seems far-fetched, but the more I think about it, the more I feel that this possibility exists. When I think about it, you may have an expert like Fan Zheng under your command. Lu Bang felt like a stick in his throat. Mr. Zhang Liang, according to your guess, this time I want to completely eliminate the project. I'm afraid it will be difficult. And you are immortal. Deal with Han Xian. I'm afraid we have to take a long-term approach. If it were the past, Zhang Liang thinks about the overall situation. You will definitely agree with Lu Bang's judgment on Han Xian. But Han Xian is on the battlefield today. I admired his face. He insisted on killing Xiang Bo. Once this bridge is forged, it's not that easy to square it off. Zhang Liang's thoughts were racing. He replied calmly, King, according to the opinions of subordinates. Next, it doesn't matter whether you are suppressed or not. Dealing with Han Xin's arrangements must be carried out as soon as possible. As for when exactly it will be launched, it depends on the timing there. Mr. Zhang Liang, if Xiang Yu is not suppressed, should we also launch arrangements to deal with Han Xian? Lu Bang was very puzzled. Good. Why is this? Because Han Xian did not take the king seriously. Already determined to fail. What? Han Xian? How dare you do this? Does your majesty still remember Xiang Bo? Xiang Bo. You are talking about Uncle Xiang who saved my life at the Hongmen banquet. Good. It is this person. Why did Mr. Zhang Liang suddenly mention him? Xiang Wu came from the Hongmen banquet. It became the internal response of his subordinates among the princes. But he died today. And he was still killed by Han Xian. Xiang Wu was killed by Han Xian. What is going on? During the daytime battle, if Xiang Wu loses to General Chao Shen, he will be killed. Crucial moment. Zhang Meng, the subordinate's personal guard, arrived in time. Zhang Meng showed that Xiang Wu was His Majesty's benefactor. It is the internal response of the subordinates. Han Xian still ordered General Chao Shen to kill the Prime Minister. So brave. Han Xian is really brave this time. How dare he not take this king seriously? Tell Fan to come quickly. This king is going to die. Please go and get Han Xin's cell phone. The king calms down. As stated before, hanging you is the most important thing right now. In order to accomplish this goal, not only can we not kill Han Xian now, I also need to help him. Help Han Xian. How is this possible? King, it's good to drive away tigers and devour wolves. But the tiger must be stronger than the wolf. If Han Xian wins this battle, we really just have to wait and see. But now Han Xian lost. Of course we have to help him. I understand what you are saying, but how can we help? I can't send soldiers to help him. There is no need to send soldiers. The subordinates have a clever plan to deal with the prince. All I need to do is go to Qi Jun's camp. Okay, now that Mr. Zhang Liang has a clever plan, then I will leave it to Mr. Zhang Liang. Don't worry, Your Majesty. My subordinates will definitely do this well. Chen Ping listened silently to the conversation between Zhang Liang and Lu Bang. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. Conspiracy to commit murder. There's really no need to use a knife. Although Han Xian is the king of Qi, although he controls hundreds of thousands of troops, although he uses soldiers like a god, but his fate was not in his hands. Zhang Liang's words can determine his life. One word could have sealed his death. The most important thing is, with Han Xin's political acumen, it is very likely that Zhang Liang will not be found to deal with him, even because Zhang Liang will help him in the next step. And I am grateful to Zhang Liang. Figured out the ins and outs. Chen Ping couldn't help but sigh secretly. How pathetic. It's really worth being vigilant about. It turned out that Chen Ping increased his official position. As Lu Bang paid more and more attention to it, he gradually started to compete with Zhang Liang. The idea of Lu Bang's #1 strategy. But now I see Zhang Liang's method of dealing with Han Xian. Chen Ping knew that he should keep a low profile and be subtle next time. Fame, fortune, and wealth are good, but you also have to have the life to enjoy it. It also seems that Zhang Liang is gentle in his treatment of others. It may be possible to determine the characters of a country. Where are the truly good people? I really want to think of him as a good old man. Maybe someday. It will be because of some inexplicable contradictions. Then he was calculated. The Qi army won a great victory. Han Xin's Chinese army battle. At this time, Han Xian was thinking over and over again about the map he should play. He was wondering where he had exposed his flaw, so much so that it was clear clearly considered an exquisite killing move. It suddenly became full of loopholes. Han Xian thought over and over again for a long time, but still haven't figured out the answer. Just when Han Xian was preparing to go to war to relax, suddenly a guard came to report. He asked Zhang Liang to see him. Thinking of the daytime, I was impressed by Zhang Liang's face. Han Xin's first reaction was, Zhang Liang came to investigate. As the aloof King Qi, Han Xian was not very afraid of Zhang Liang, so there was hardly any hesitation. Han Xian ordered his guards to summon Zhang Liang. It didn't take long. Zhang Liang entered the Chinese army battle at a slow pace. As soon as Han Xian saw Zhang Liang, he asked with a cold face, Mr. Zhang Liang, you are here to answer your questions? No. Zhang Liang shook his head slightly. This king insisted on killing Xiang Yu during the day. It can be said that Mr. Zhang Liang was impressed. Mr. Zhang Liang, don't you care at all? That must be false. But what? Xiang Yu still insulted the military power of the King of Qi. This prevented the King of Qi from destroying Chu. King Qi wants to kill him. It is necessary for righteousness. But it is excusable. Necessary for justice. Excusable. Mr. Zhang Liang really thinks so. Zhang Liang, never say anything crazy. Good. Mr. Zhang Liang is magnanimous. I admire you. Han Xian bowed his hands towards Zhang Liang and disappeared. What seemed to come to mind then? Asked quickly. I wonder what exactly Mr. Zhang Liang is here for. Zhang Liang handed Han Xian his hand and returned. He replied with a smile. I'm here to help King Qi. Help me. Han Xian was a little surprised. Asked confused. Mr. Zhang Liang, you should tell me where I need help. Zhang Liang felt guilty. Talking freely. There are two places where King Qi needs help. King Qi wanted to understand why he had arranged a killing spree. It will be perfectly cracked by Xiang Yu. Second. Zhang Liang didn't wait for the second part. Han Xian asked excitedly. Mr. Zhang Liang, do you know what this is about? Regarding Xiang Yu's plan to break the situation. Mr. Chen Ping, King of Han, and I have a guess. That is, Xiang Yu may have an expert similar to Fan Zeng under his command. Fan Zeng. Han Xian couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. Obviously, he was also very afraid of Fan Zeng. Mr. Zhang Liang, who is the master under Xiang Yu? Don't hide it from the King of Qi. Who exactly is that expert? I can't be sure yet. But, unless Xiang Yu becomes a completely different person. Otherwise, only Xiang Yu has an expert like Fan Zeng under his command. Only then can it be explained. After all, the King of Qi's military skills were outstanding at that time. Haha. Mr. Zhang Liang was so complimentary. Han Xian responded with a smile. Then, the tone changed. As Mr. Zhang Liang said, the reason why Xiang Yu was able to crack this king's murderous act, it's because there is one more person under his command, similar to an expert like Fan Zeng. I don't know about Mr. Zhang Liang. Yes. The next warrior. Any good suggestions? Haha. This is what I came for. This is the second place where I can help King Qi. Now, the prince still has the strength to fight. The so-called trapped beast still fights. The King of Qi wanted to wipe them out quickly. I'm afraid it will be difficult. But, I have a plan. It can be done without any effort. Destroy the prince's fighting spirit. Mr. Zhang Liang actually has such a good idea. Please come soon. The king can be found in the army. Soldiers or prisoners who can speak the language of Chudi. And then again and again. It will definitely destroy the prince's fighting spirit. A song that disturbs the morale of the army. Mr. Zhang Liang is truly a god. The king was full of praise. After the discussion is over, Han Xian smiled broadly. He personally sent Zhang Liang out of the camp. Quickly take a night walk. See this scene? Asked Han Xian out of curiosity. King, didn't Zhang Liang come to ask for help? Mr. Zhang Liang is magnanimous. How can you care about the little things during the day? He came to see me. It is to help this king. Han Xian said in tone. He respected Zhang Liang very much. King. Zhang Liang was obviously impressed by the king. But not only did he not ask the king to raise an army to hold him accountable. Instead, he took the initiative to help the king. I'm afraid there's something wrong here. The king needs to be more careful. Beware. Mr. Zhang Liang has good intentions. Why are you making malicious assumptions? King, my subordinate, this is for the sake of the king. I don't want the king to be fooled by Zhang Liang. Bluff. This king is not a fool. How could you be fooled by him? Quan Tong was extremely depressed. A sentence almost jumped out of his mouth. You, Han Xian, are in terms of political intrigue just a fool. But he finally endured it. Han Xian saw Quan Tong and said nothing. I thought he was guilty. So he continued to scold. Mr. Quan Tong, I have told you before, don't be prejudicial to others. Previously, you were prejudiced against the king of Han. Now even Mr. Zhang Liang is doing this. How dare I use you? Prejudice be damned. bias. Good intentions were turned into nothing. This is the best portrayal of Quan Tong's mood at this moment. He took a deep breath. He replied sadly. The subordinates knew. Han Xing saw Quan Tong realize his mistake. I won't say any more. Immediately returned to the Chinese army battle. He began to make arrangements according to Zhang Liang's plan. It's 3 o'clock in the night. It was pitch black between heaven and earth. I can't see my fingers. Outside the prince's camp, bursts of singing suddenly floated in the endless night. You'll find out if you listen carefully. This is a local style song. By stopping, the prince, who was resting in the tent, heard the singing. Then they all dressed up and left the tent, listening to the familiar voice of Emperor Chu. Listen to the touching lyrics. The prince and the generals were all devastated. In the dark, I don't know who started singing along. Soon, more princes and soldiers joined the singing procession. It takes less than a moment. The entire prince's camp changed. Already completely wounded and frustrated. Filled with the songs of Emperor Chu. UJIS requests. You had dinner. Getting ready to rest on him. But suddenly there was singing from outside. But it shocked you. You know, this is the legendary embarrassment on all sides. UJIS expression changed drastically when she saw you. He asked quickly and softly. What happened to the king? You take a deep breath. Try to calm yourself down. Fine. Something happened. This king is going to deal with it. King. Go. Waiting for the king to come back. No more waiting. You rest first. Remember to sleep in unity. I'm afraid there's going to be a war tonight. Yes, I remembered it personally. There was a big battle. You just go to the battle of the Chinese army. Something unexpected happened. The heavy general of the Chu army should be waiting there for him to respond. While on the road, a song formed by the deep and intense correspondence repeatedly into your ears. Let you hear the lyrics clearly at the same time. My heart was also greatly shaken when watching TV series in my previous life. Yes. There is nothing special about being surrounded on all sides. Experience it now. Only then did I truly feel the power of being besieged on all sides. A cool autumn evening in September. Flying double for 4 nights. The sun and the moon fight at night. After all, it was Liu Bang. This is a poetic reporter using a touching method to publicize the war situation. Let the Chu soldiers understand. They were surrounded and covered. Just like the fallen leaves on the big trees in late autumn that were beaten by flying doubles. Everything will be swept away. Now, the overall situation of the Chu Han War has been decided. Even if the Chu army continues to resist completely, to no avail. Victory ultimately belonged to the Han army. The world will eventually belong to Liu Bang. Just imagine. The Chu army officers and soldiers were aware of the current predicament. Knowing that complete resistance is useless. Who will have the courage and confidence to turn things around? White-haired old mother 11. Determine the liver intestines. The West is worthy of the West. Stay alone in the empty room. Brother wants to see the West. The mayor of the Helm clan. Sisters miss the West and shed 1,000 lines of tears. Therefore, I make friends in the West. Dengmen visits. The window is on the chest and on the ground to the west. Ask short and long questions. This is a poem in which the reporter mobilizes the homesickness of the prince and soldiers. Inspire the centrifugal tendency of the prince's officers and soldiers towards you. Just imagine. The prince and soldiers in trouble. I heard my mother judge liver sausage. The wife stayed alone in the empty room. The brother fell into the shoes of the mayor. Sisters and 1,000 lines of tears. Gu Jiadengmen visited. When classmates kiss, they sing a short sad song. How could you not be moved? How could you not shed tears? They had this kind of separation between life and death, and they looked forward to seeing each other and felt homesick. And the loneliness and hesitation about wearing armor and guarding the border. Where can there be the fighting spirit to fight to the end? Because the prince's officers and soldiers are also people of flesh and blood. There is also a home. There is love and there are plots that cannot be let go. Once the soldiers are arrogant, killed by gunshot, bone and flesh venocide, fight together on the battlefield. Why not think about the past? Each went to his hometown. Reunion at home. Yongda. Ankon. This is a poetry reporter deliberately pointing the way for the prince. Advise the prince to surrender. If the prince and his soldiers are indifferent, then there is only one fight, and the fight is together. The prince's soldiers will inevitably have their own flesh and blood and flying swords. Death on the battlefield. Become the hero of the coalition forces. Just imagine. Most of the prince's officers and soldiers, here lower your weapon, can survive. You can reunite at home. May you always be in good health. On the contrary, fight to the end. There is only a dead end. What choices will they make? Strange songs disturb the morale of the army, such as scheming. Even if you were used to life and death in your previous life, even if you have adapted to the cruelty of this era, I can't help but feel my heart trembling. That's so cruel. No wonder it is recorded in history books. The final moments of the battle. You only led 870 to break through. It seems. It's not like you abandoned your army at all, but the army abandoned it. In the sound of Chu songs that are as refreshing as they are, the remnants of the Chu army retreated to the camp. He has completely lost his fighting spirit. They took advantage of the night to become deserters. Wait until you notice. There are only the most loyal 800 people left around him. No, this tragedy must be prevented from happening again. But how easy is it to stop the spread of of Chu Ji. You can do this through your supreme prestige in the military. Prevent the soldiers of the Chu army from following the camp. But it couldn't stop the enemy forces outside. This moment, you feel a suffocating pressure. What to do? What to do? When thinking hard, before you know it, you have arrived outside the Chinese army's tent. He looked panicked. The lieutenant general of Chu army was a little overwhelmed. There is a dust in your heart again. But I hypnotize. Gradually, you certainly don't seem panicked at all. Infected by you. The important generals of the Chu army also gradually calmed down. They know, even if the sky is falling, the omnipotent overlord will also rise to the top. Everyone, you congratulate lightly, attracting the attention of the Chu army general. Now the enemy wants to disrupt the morale of the armed forces by being besieged on all sides. But you invite your own failures. I have something to say to them. Although the general of the Chu army has some doubts about the effectiveness of your response. But now that you have ordered it, they will execute it to the letter. It didn't take long. In addition to necessary patrols and security teams, most of the princes were under the leadership of their respective generals, came to the front of the Chinese army's battle. You glanced at the dark crowd. Quickly climb up to the general platform. Langsheng said, "Brothers, are you homesick? I want the prince's officers and men to respond together. Do you know where my home is? Chudi is good. This king's family is in his younger brother. Not just me. General Nakabayashi, the successor general. With General Ziki, their families are all in Chudi. We all want to go home. But some people don't want us to go home. Who is the king who doesn't want us to go home? It's Liu Bang. It's Han Xian. It's the coalition forces that surrounded us. It turned out to be them. Most of the prince's officers and soldiers were a little confused. King, Brother Chu outside said that. As long as we don't fight to the end, can you go home? Chu Gazhong did say that. But do you believe it? Can you believe it? How long has it been? Everyone has forgotten the consciousness of the Red Ditch. How was Liu Bang betrayed? How can words not count? The prince's soldiers were all silent. Before knowing this king, why should it be combined with Liu Bang Hongo? The prince's soldiers were silent again. It's because I don't want to fight anymore. It's because I want to take you home. For this reason, I gave up half of the country. But what's the result? The soldiers of the Chu army remained silent. Liu Bang shamelessly broke the agreement this time. They pursued our troops fiercely all the way. There is no way to let us go home. This is going to kill us. As soon as you said this, remembering the disloyalty, Li Mei, Ziki Xiangzhuang, and other generals Chi echoed the sentiment. Brothers, the king is right. The enemy forces headed by Liu Bang never thought of letting us go home. They deliberately sing sad songs. It is to break up our campaign, and then put us to death. Are you willing to let them get revenge? Not willing. Not willing. The prince's soldiers all shouted loudly. When you see the prince, the emotions of the soldiers are aroused. It was Lang Sheng who spoke again. Brothers, I know that you really want to go home. Not only you. The king and the generals also want to go home. But even if we want to go home, we must not lose our dignity and pride. Never ask for charity from your enemies. We need to go back with our heads held high. We will go back with great glory. Talk about it. You follow this king. It's been several years. This king's ability. You should all know this. Mountains of swords and seas of fire. I will lead you through this. Why be afraid of the small bumps in front of you? As long as you believe in me, I will be able to take you back to Chu. Go back to your respective homes. Your words came out. There is no need for Zhongli Mei and Zi Xiangzhuang to drive the atmosphere. The Chu army officers and soldiers present couldn't help but shout in unison. Your Majesty is right. We cannot lose our dignity and pride. We cannot ask for charity from our enemies. We need to go back with our heads held high. We will go back with great glory. See this scene. You nodded with satisfaction. Then he ordered all the soldiers to go back and rest. Wait for the Chu army to disperse. You recruit the important generals into the central military conference room. Just listen to you, Langsheng, speak. Everyone. Although I, the king, stabilized our soldiers just now. But over time, the morale of the army will be in chaos. What do you think about this? Neither gave it a second thought. Be the first in line. As the king said, in a matter of seconds, the morale of our army will be in chaos. Therefore, the last general suggested a decisive battle with his army tomorrow. After a great victory, in a leisurely retreat. I heard this suggestion. Most generals agreed. Only Zhonglimai seemed to have other ideas. After you notice, asked immediately. General Zhonglimai, you seem to have a different opinion. You might as well speak up and listen. Zhonglimai paid attention to Li Sisawai. Reputation said, King, the general feels that our army is not suitable for a decisive battle with his army tomorrow. Why is this? Although the king just pointed out the possible turmoil caused by being surrounded on all sides in time, but it has to be said, the lingering poison of embarrassment still exists. If our army breaks through and withdraws as soon as possible, this residual poison may not break out. But once our army engages in a high-intensity battle, especially when encountering setbacks during the war, the consequences would be disastrous. That's up to you. What should I do next? This is it. No worries. Say whatever you want. King, this time it will be a prisoner for our army. The longer you stay, the more dangerous it becomes. The last general suggested that the king take advantage of the fact that the morale of our army is still there. Immediately lead the army to break through. Immediately lead the army to break out of the encirclement. This proposal was made. All the generals' eyes lit up. Although the generals are in command, they are not afraid of fierce battles on weekdays. But as long as there are alternatives, no one wants to fight desperately with the enemy at every turn. You glanced at the generals. Seeing that the generals have no intention of thinking, Ben Langsheng said, "Everyone, I didn't remember neutrality just now." What those two generals said was correct. But I think so. Our army is currently engaged in a decisive battle with the Qi army. Or break out and evacuate immediately. None of them are appropriate. In the case of turbulent military morale. Decisive battle with Qi army. The odds are not very good. Break out immediately and withdraw your troops. And it is easy to be pursued by the Qi army. Neither is appropriate. So what? A sword of kings. Our army only needs to launch a surprise attack. Beat the Qi army. This will solve the current dilemma. Launching a surprise attack can solve the current dilemma. The generals were slightly startled. Then he fell into deep thought. Zhang Limai thought for a while. Asked thoughtfully, "King, I don't know how to choose the time for this raid." "You have thought about it. Go right back." Tonight, the Qi army used the strategy of being surrounded on all sides to disrupt the morale of the Wu army. Our army can definitely take advantage of the situation. Choosing secretly, Zhongyong pretends to be a deserter. Hide first after going out. Wait for the Qi army to return to fight. Then quietly move towards the Qi army camp. The Qi army thought that our army was surrounded by enemies on all sides. There will be negligence. Chances are they didn't expect it. Our army will be in a state of turmoil in military morale. Launched a surprise attack on the Qi army camp. You are most likely to feel sleepy in the early morning hours. This time, if our army suddenly launches a thunderous offensive, it will definitely deal a serious blow to the Qi army. The Qi army camp suffered heavy losses. In addition, almost all the Qi army's cavalry were wiped out before. They were thinking about canoe chasing. Not so easy. So it goes. Our army can take advantage of the victory and retreat calmly. I want to hear your plan. The generals began to discuss in low voices. After a while, all the generals think your plan is abominable. You see that all the generals agree with your strategy. He decisively issued combat orders. Where are General Jibu and General Xiang Zhuang? The end will be here. Jibu went out to Zhuang. Lang Sun responded. This king orders you to choose to be loyal and brave in the army. Righteous. The king will lead his army to respond behind. Remember, this time they attacked the Qi army camp. The main purpose was to burn down the food and grass supplies of the Qi army. Don't be tempted to fight. The final general takes command. Where are you and General Ziki? The end will be here. Go out with Ziki. Lang Sun responded. The three forces are located southeast of our army camp. There is a long river named Tuoshui. The king suspects that the Qi army is storing water there and is in trouble. He led his troops to the upper reaches of Tuo River. Be sure to keep the dike in hand. Wait for our army to cross the water. Then he released water and flooded the Qi army. King, what if there is no Qi army on the upper reaches of Tuo River? Then take people to live there as soon as possible and store water. Remember, I don't know if this point is related to whether our army can get rid of the Qi army's pursuit. Don't make any mistakes. The final general takes command. Where is General Zhong Limei and General Chu? The end will be here. Zhongli's sister Huan Chu came out. Lang Sun responded. My family and camp will be left to you. Don't worry, Your Majesty. The general will surely live up to his trust. Everything is in order. All the generals left one after another. Each went to prepare. Outside the Chu army's camp, Chao Shen was directing his Chu people to sing Chu songs. While observing the movements in the Chu army camp, waited for a full hour. They didn't wait until the Chu army collapsed. Chao Shen thought that Zhongliang was besieged on all sides and had failed. Just when Chao Shen was about to send someone to inform Han Xian, there was a sudden commotion in the Chu army camp. Then the Chu army was seen fleeing and fighting in groups. See this scene. Chao Shen was ecstatic. According to the Tao, the great work is accomplished. Next, Chao Shen observed for a while until the Chu army collapsed and fled halfway. Only then did he lead his army back to the camp with satisfaction. Half an hour later, inside the Qi army camp, Han Xian listened to Chao Jian's report while breathing a huge sigh of relief. A satisfied smile appeared on his face. Thinking of your rebellion and cleaning up. A scene about to escape into an ambush from all directions. Han Xian couldn't help but laugh like a wolf. Xiang Yu, Xiang Yu. In the end, you will still be in the hands of this king. Early in the morning, although the night is gradually dissipating, but because of the misty autumn fog between heaven and earth, it is still difficult to see even one's fingers. At the gate of the village on the left side of the Qi army camp, a few lights were blown by the night wind. The sound suddenly goes off. Beneath the lights, several cavalry guards standing guard were fighting with their eyelids up and down. The figure is shaky, sleepy. Just in time for a pair of patrols, the cavalry came over. The guards holding shields quickly stood up. Cheer yourself up. You can wait for the cavalry patrol to disappear into the cause. They shielded themselves again in tacit agreement. Originally, they didn't dare to be so negligent. After all, Han Xian has always been strict in running the army. However, these guards got the tip. I know that Chu Jun was in a state of disarray last night. There were countless deserters, so they have no worries about enemies coming to attack. This is the situation at the gate of the village on the left side of the Qi army camp. Other village gates are not much better. All the Qi army guards unknowingly relaxed their guard. Outside the Qi army camp, the two reserve armies were stacked under the leadership of the successors and Xiangzhuang. The witness suspected that Mei Ma Guo was approaching quietly. Out of caution, the successor team did not launch a surprise attack rashly. Instead, he arranged for elite repulsors to go and investigate the defense situation of the Qi army's camp. You won't know the result until you see it. Take a look at the next jump. The huge Qi army camp. Just like a girl wearing green gauze, the defense was extremely lax. Under the order of the successor, after scolding a few elites, they quietly approached the sentry tower. Use your bow and arrow to knock over the sentry guard. At the same time, the captain cut him cleanly with his dagger, slapped the guard in the throat. Then he waved his hand to lay down the cloth and move away the giant horse suit. After seeing several troops scolding them, the sneak attack was successful. Jibu shouted and killed. Then he waved his hawkbeak knife. Take the lead and rush into the Qi army's camp. In the process of killing, wearing eagle armor, sitting on a green horse, the successor is like the flaming naked body that seduces souls in the underworld. The hawkbeak knife flew up and down. The Qi army who came to stop in a panic was killed and the whole sea was exhausted. After the death of the successor, 5,000 Chu army cavalry also howled and screamed. Like wolves and tigers, they galloped back and forth in the Qi army camp, while constantly beheading and panicking. The Qi army quickly set fire to the food and grass tent. The Qi army camp was in chaos. After Han Xian woke up from his sleep, the Qing soldiers were immediately called in for questioning. Something happened outside. How could it be so noisy? Slightly defeated. King, the Chu army came to camp. Our army was unprepared. They were killed in chaos. Han Xian looked surprised. Walking in confinement, he hurried out of the sleeping barrier with bare feet, looking at the blazing fire not far away. Listening to Six's shouts of killing one after another. Han Xian knew that things were in trouble. Put on the armor quickly. Han Xian was slightly surrounded. Quickly go to the Chinese army's tent. It didn't take long. Han Xian arrived outside the Chinese army's tent. Saw Han Xian arriving. The commander-in-chief, whose face was full of yellow disease, suddenly looked determined. It seems that only Han Xian takes action. Nothing is a problem. There is no sense of legitimacy. Han Xian asked directly. Do you know how many troops and horses there are when the prince comes to attack? Who are the leading generals? Where did it come from? Li Zuoche has collected relevant information. He replied quickly. King, when the attack came, the prince suddenly rushed in from the left and right sides of our army camp. All cavalry. The exact number is unknown, but never too much. As for the leading generals, those who have been discovered are Jibu and Xiangzhuang. Are there any other generals? Not yet known. Xiang Yu actually did not lead the troops himself. This cannot yet be determined. At least none have been found so far. Alright, the king is already aware of the situation. Han Xian nodded. Then his tone changed. The generals will obey orders. Thunder drums gather troops. The whole army gathered towards the central army. All the generals are in front. Hold your ground. Lead the troops and slowly press the border. Retreat and cut. The cholera army was heartbroken. Two chops came out. All the generals looked at one another. They all secretly paid attention to it. It didn't take long. The generals of the Qi army began to take their own steps. Slowly kill the Chu army cavalry that is raging everywhere. Qi army's attack formation. Chang'e soldiers are in front. Sword and shield wielder is second. The crossbowmen pressed behind. No illness. No slowness. Advance steadily and steadily. So it goes. The difficulty of the Chu army's charge immediately increased a lot. GBU Xiangzhuang saw this scene. Hesitating in his heart, he continued to rush forward or withdraw the troops and return to fight. Considering that the opportunity to raid the Qi army is rare, Jibu Xiangzhuang did not withdraw his troops immediately, but keep a team of troops. Continue to burn the grain and grass tent nets. The rest of the troops gathered together, swimming outside the Qi army. Over time, the Qi army's numerical advantage gradually came into play. The intensity of the counterattack is also increasing. This caused the Chu army's casualties to rise rapidly. Remember your warning before I remember. Jibu Xiangzhuang did not dare to stay any longer. Immediately issue an order to withdraw troops. On the eve of evacuation, a middle-aged scribe and a general from the Chu army found GBU. Please execute this middle-aged scribe on the spot, or take them captive. Neither is he middle-aged, a scholar, and has an extraordinary bearing. I remember you coming in and lamenting that your subordinates lacked capable literary talents. He then had other thoughts. He ordered the middle-aged scribe to be taken prisoner. There was a lot of movement when the Chu army retreated. After the Qi army general saw it, were you willing to let them leave safely? There are almost no mistakes. Immediately each led his troops to pursue him. There are differences in the types of arms in his army. The Qi army was insufficient and wanted to catch up with the Chu army's cavalry. Almost impossible. But the Chu cavalry did not know whether their physical strength dropped sharply after the battle. Unexpectedly, he could never get rid of his pursuers. I saw the Chu army not far ahead. The commander-in-chief of the Qi army, his eyes were red. They all shouted, "Hurry up and hurry up. Be sure to catch up with them. Revenge for the brothers who died tonight." Perhaps it confirms the saying that Huang Tian pays off his conscientious people. The Qi army pursued him for 3 or 4 miles. Finally, they caught the Chu army's tail. Ha 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 ha. Finally caught up. Brothers, kill the prince to pieces and leave nothing behind. Several Qi Jun generals laughed wildly with joy. The horse is accelerating. He must take the lead in joining the crowd of princes. But at this moment, the prince's cavalry seemed to have sensed the crisis in advance. It suddenly accelerated. It only takes a moment. It's mostly over the hill ahead. The cooked duck wants to fly. How can all the Qi Jun generals be happy? He shouted again and again to scare him, and accelerated his pursuit. But at this moment, in the neon autumn mist, suddenly a man wearing purple dragon-patterned armor appeared, holding the overlord tight. A young man chasing a horse across a house. Release the sword and follow your shout. There are 20,000 crossbowmen of the prince lying in ambush behind the hill. Pull up the bowstrings immediately. Aiming at the panicked cavalry, the pursuers fired wildly. Shy. For a while, the dense arrows seemed to be pouring down with force. Wu Juan pounced on the cavalry pursuers because the cold sword attack was too sudden. In addition, autumn fog affects the vision. Most of the cavalry were unable to respond. One by one they were shot to the ground. All the cavalry generals were shot, almost instinctively hiding in the crowd. It can be seen that the language is too dense. No matter where they hide, they are all extremely dangerous. If it weren't for the personal guards around them, they would fight to the death. I'm afraid they had already died in the first round of sword and attack. Faced with such a bad situation, how can the generals of the Qi army, who are completely frightened by the battle, still have the energy to pursue? They all shouted in tacit agreement to withdraw the troops. But, at this time, the dominance of the battlefield changed again. Whether to pursue or not is under the control of the Chu army. Obviously, you won't let them go easily. At your command, taking advantage of the victory, the Chu army began to cover up and kill. For a while, tens of thousands of Qi troops were killed and cried for their fathers and mothers. The army was defeated like a mountain. The Chu army pursued them for 3 or 4 miles, until Han Xian led his army to respond. You just gave the order to withdraw. Looking at the handsome figure of the Chu army leaving after victory, Han Xian frowned. Anger at failure is one. He was worried that the Chu army still had a backup plan. House of Flying Daggers that will affect him is the second one. Talk about it. Han Xian became queen. In terms of marching and fighting, sometimes you can be overconfident, but to say that he is arrogant, but it's not appropriate either. I suffered big losses several times in a row. He gradually paid more attention to the Chu army. Since I guessed that the prince might take advantage of the victory and evacuate, it was time to make a move. Of course Han Xian would not let it go. There was barely any hesitation. He immediately ordered the army to pursue them. But Qi Jun suffered a big loss from the pursuit before. How dare you pursue me now? Most people can't afford to cower. Watching the prince leave helplessly, how could Han Xian tolerate his subordinates' disobedience and disrespect? After glancing at the commander-in-chief, he quickly pulled out the purple moon sword. The 2 most conspicuous disobedient generals were stabbed to death. Other Qi Jun will learn their swords. Han Xian was serious about it. Where can I still dare to cower? He quickly called his subordinates to start the pursuit. When ambushed again, they turned back. After you think about it for a moment, shaked his head. We continue to withdraw our troops. Leave them alone. King, our army just won a great victory. Fully capable of fighting. Why just retreat? But did not fight back. This time our army can achieve a great victory. The main reason is that it is difficult to vent one's anger. Now Han Xian was on guard. Our army directly fought back. Easily trapped. Even if you lay a trap, it is also difficult to succeed. So it goes. It's better to evacuate directly. Save your energy to deal with the breakout process. Difficulties that may arise. I see. The king is thoughtful. I will admire you in the end. There are originally smooth channels on the river. At this time it was blocked by a high embankment, causing water levels to be much higher than normal. On the flat ground by the river bank, more than 1,000 tents are like huge mushrooms. Sit quietly here. Outside the tent, several cavalrymen on vigil were chatting listlessly. Damn it, there are so many mosquito detectives in this damn place. Yes, this place is really not for people. I don't know how long we will stay here. Just be content. I heard that the battle over there was extremely extremely brutal. Tens of thousands of people were killed or injured in one day. That's it. As long as I can keep Xiao and I. We were bitten by mosquitoes. What's the harm? Lao Chen. Do you think there will be danger here? Danger? What danger could there be? It's so remote here. Prince. How can it be so easy? The word find hasn't been finished yet. The cavalryman named Lao Chen felt a pain in his neck. Just when he was about to call for help, he was shocked to find out several chat companions all had a sword around their necks. Enemy blood. On the occasion of the flow, Lao Chen opened his mouth several times, but it was discovered in vain. His own reminder was as quiet as when Ruiz. There was no way to wake up the comrades who were still sleeping in the tent. A silent killing soon began. A large number of the cavalry were still sleeping. Turn into a fox in grape land and enter the underworld. The few vigilant cavalry did not escape the disaster. Under the siege of the superior prince, he was quickly killed and thrown to the ground. After the battle, Yuziki looked at the corpses of the cavalry, which numbered as many as 5,000. Then he looked at the Tuojiang River, where the water level was extremely high. In my mind, I couldn't help but think of the time when the prince crossed the Tuojiang River. The horrific scene of being suddenly submerged by a torrential flood. This moment, Yuziki was extremely scared. I also admire your foresight even more. On the official road 10 miles southwest of the Chu army camp, you and I don't pretend to be a group of people, passing by non-stop and rushing on. Finally caught up with Zhongli, who had evacuated early. Mei Huanchu's troops. The smooth reunification of the two groups is worthy of joy. And with the attack on the Qi army to meet the debt, news of the great victory spread. The Chu army was extremely excited. Be more confident about the next breakout challenge. In the ranks of the Chu army, a middle-aged scribe with his hands tied, looking at the calm and excited people around him. Many doubts could not help but arise in my mind. As an important counselor under Han Xian, Kaitong knows how to be surrounded by enemies on all sides. When I first heard about this strategy, he was also surprised by such a powerful attack on the heart. Kaitong originally thought that the prince was surrounded by enemies on all sides, will be helpless. In the end, the morale of the army was in chaos. The power collapsed. But now it seems it was Kaitong who underestimated the prince. There should be an expert among the princes. This expert can not only easily defeat the plan of being surrounded by enemies on all sides, you can also take advantage of the situation to launch a counterattack. For the time of being captured, Kaitong didn't take it seriously. He has given up on Han Xian. Even if not captured, he will also look for opportunities to leave Han Xian. What Kuaisong really cares about now, it is necessary to find out this master among the princes as soon as possible. Who is it? Just when Kuai Tong's thoughts were racing, the two princes suddenly came over. Say nothing. Then he pressed him and walked to the front of the team. Kuai Tong felt slightly uneasy, but it didn't show. His identity was exposed soon after Qin. According to his guess, this should be what you want to see him. Mu Di wanted nothing more than to persuade him to surrender. Think of this. I have a quick bowel movement and feel a little headache. To work for you. He was somewhat repulsive. In his opinion, you even have top strategists like Fan Zheng. Neither can be reused to the end. How can we really pay attention to it? His cavalry service. You have to refuse it directly. Quan Tong didn't dare to be so rash. After all, you have a reputation for cruelty. But it spread widely throughout the world. Once I accidentally piss you off, it is very likely that he will pursue his ambitions without revenge. She died first. With mixed emotions, Quan Tong was brought to you. Looking at each other nearby, Quan Tong found himself in front of him. This is you and the overlord in my impression. There seems to be something different. The difference is not in appearance. It's about temperament. In his impression, you should be sharp. But what he sees now, the edge is restrained. When Kuai Tong looks at you, you're also looking at Kuai Tong. In your eyes, Kuai Tong wears white like running. Wear gold on your head. Although the appearance is ordinary, but a pair of bright hair. But there is a sense of calmness. Rui, in the memory of your past life, there isn't much information about Kuaisong, but Kuai Tong alone provided Han Xian with a strategy to destroy the flag, and the plan of dividing the world into 3 parts. It's enough for you to pay attention to. With the idea of regaining Kuaidong, you come to Kuai Tong. Untie him personally, presented by Kuaisong. I have been offended many times before. This move of yours, for you, it may be very tiring, but in Kuai Tong's eyes, but I felt flattered, because in Kuaidong's impression, you are aloof and cold. It makes it difficult to be quiet. The rumors are horrifying. Kuai Tong sighed secretly in his heart. With emotion, he bowed to you. Ask for a quick pass next. Meet the overlord. You smiled slightly. Mr. Kuai Tong doesn't need to be polite. I have admired Mr. Kuai Tong for a long time. I wonder if Mr. Kuai Tong can always be by my side. Give this king a hint to clear up his doubts. I have admired him for a long time. Always by your side. Kuai Tong Xian Landa. As soon as I heard these words, then I know you have the intention to recruit him. According to common sense, can you get such courtesy from a superior? Kuai Tong should be happy to accept it. But it's because of Fan Zheng's mistakes. Kuai Tong hesitated. He worries that you are just a passing enthusiasm. Now he is treated with great courtesy. He was abandoned in the blink of an eye, as if exposed. How? Mr. White-Tun was unwilling. The posture is large. Overlord, can you let me think about it? Okay. Mr. Huai-Tong has thought about it and told the debater. You didn't force Huai-Tong. Chao Qing waved his hand for parole. He indicated that Huai-Tong could be taken away. But Huai-Tong did not leave immediately with the prince's parole. But I bow to you again. Overlord, I have a question. Please also ask Overlord to clear up my doubts. What question? You turn around. The King of Qi's use of troops can be described as extremely extraordinary. However, he has suffered setbacks at the hands of the prince recently. Is this because there is an expert among the princes? The master is in charge. You are a little confused. Then he shook his head. There is no such expert as you mentioned in this king's army. This is absolutely impossible. Why is it impossible? The killing plan arranged by King Qi can be said to be extremely subtle. If there is no expert in charge, how can the prince perfectly crack the sterilization of King Qi? You didn't answer this question. Because Jibu couldn't help but interrupt. Mr. Zidong, as you said, that expert should be the king of my family. General Jibu, you say that the master is the overlord. How is this possible? Zidong didn't believe it. Jiba's palm pressed on Zidong's shoulder. Pinch hard on one side. He snorted dissatisfiedly. You have the slightest doubt about the ability of my king. I see you have an itchy bone. Severe pain struck. Zidong's face turned pale. General Jibu, I'm just telling the truth. Why are you moving against me? Despair. My king is heroic and powerful. Unparalleled ingenuity. How dare you question the ability of my king? It's not an itchy bone. What is it? I didn't use the knife directly, so it was a minor incident. That's good. You still don't believe it. Looking for a fight, right? Just when Jibu was about to take action again, you stopped him loudly. General Jibu, please do not be rude to Mr. Quantong. Facts speak louder than words. Why bother with this? Jibu respects you very much. Since you spoke, he will no longer care about Quantong. But, although Jibu stopped, but Quantong hasn't found the ideal answer yet. Still asked reluctantly. Overlord, the prince should be retreating to Wujiang. Are you planning to take a boat from Wujiang River to Jiangdong? Good. You replied calmly. Overlord knows that there will be many difficulties and dangers along the way. Not to mention far away. There is a crisis not far ahead. What you are talking about is the upper reaches of Tuajiang River. The overlord actually knew. Qi Jun made arrangements in the upper reaches of Tuajiang River. See the surprised expression on Kuai Tong's face. I can't remember how happy I felt immediately. He couldn't help but interject again. Fast pass. Fast pass. My king not only knows. Qi Jun made arrangements in the upper reaches of Tuajiang River. Moreover, troops had already been sent to capture the upper reaches of Tuajiang River. Troops have been sent to capture the upper reaches of Tuajiang River. Kuai Tong was shocked. I thought to myself that this was just a coincidence. Or have you seen through Han Xin's murder plot again? Just when Kuai Tong was about to continue asking questions to verify his conjecture, a Pegasus riding a sentry horse in front of the team rushes to your side. Respectfully report. King. General Yuziki led his troops to attack at night. Qi army's Tuajiang camp. Kill 5,000 enemies. The damage to oneself is only a few hundred. In order to successfully control the embankment built by the Qi army. Okay. You say hello 3 times in a row. He smiled with satisfaction. General Ziki uses troops wisely. Sure enough, I did not disappoint. King. General Yuziki certainly leads the troops well. But if there is no king to plan things, it is absolutely impossible to accomplish such a great feat. Jibu praised, while deliberately looking at Quantong. Want to see the surprise and embarrassment on his face. In fact, Quantong is indeed a little embarrassed. Although GBU repeatedly stated before, you are what Quantong calls an expert. It can be forgiven because of my prejudice against you. I don't believe it from the bottom of my heart. This is the back end. It's almost a temptation that's almost treacherous. Now the facts are before us. Even if Kuai Tong fights, I don't want to believe it in my heart. I have to believe it. Notice that you no longer look at him. Only then did Kuai Tong realize it. He was looking for a rather absurd answer. I have offended you many times. Fortunately, you are not as cruel as the rumors say. Otherwise, the consequences will be disastrous. And as soon as my mind opens up, Kuai Tong thought of more. He was prejudiced before. Think you are foolhardy. But tell him the truth. You are both civil and military. He was prejudiced before. I think you are lonely and have strange dreams. Unapproachable. But tell him the truth. You have a big heart. Be kind and courteous to others. That's what he thought before. You can't even reuse principles like Fan Zheng. He will definitely not really reuse his judgment. Could it be a prejudice in itself? The more Kuai Tong thought about it, the more he felt that this was the case. With a hint of apologies, he bowed respectfully to you, Overlord. Before, I did it because of the prejudice in my heart. Yes, Overlord is more than a little offended. Please forgive me, Overlord. Kuai Tong's attitude was sincere at first sight. Take a step forward and lift Kuai Tong up. He replied with a smile. Don't be surprised if you don't know. No need to worry about Mr. Kuai Tong. Again, most people in the world are prejudiced against this king. I have long been used to it. The Overlord has a noble status. How can these prejudices be tolerated? The mouth is on someone else's body. I want to control it, but how can I control it? What's more, Facts speak louder than words. How is this king like me? Many people have said it doesn't count. Right and wrong are a matter of course. There are contemptuous comments. Facts speak louder than words. Right and wrong are a matter of course. There are contemptuous comments. Huai Tong said it was difficult. My recognition of you in my heart has increased again. He gritted his teeth. He kneels solemnly in front of you. Do not use express. I am willing to work hard for the great king. Please take it in, Your Majesty. You quickly lifted Huai Tong up. He replied with a smile. I need Mr. Fast Pass. You can catch anyone like a fish. Hello everyone. The story of this episode comes to an end here. I am the creator of this channel. To be honest, what about this video you made? It took me a lot of effort. I hope you will enjoy this immersive movie watching experience. If you can see this video, forget about time. Please be sure to subscribe for me. This is really important to me. In addition, due to copyright issues, this is an abridged version. eBay sorted it out. Put it in the link at the top of the comment area. Where is everyone? You can now click on the message area below. Let's complete the page again. Bye bye.